Hi everybody, how you guys doing on a Wednesday afternoon today? We got a big, huge show planned for you today. Bigger than most because I couldn't do my afternoon show. And it's too late in the day to do a second show, so we're going to do a really long mid-show. This one should go from now until, I don't know, 7-ish, 7:30. So go ahead and get your dinner. Call your friends, tell the wife or the husband you're going to be busy for a few hours here. So let me tell you what's on tap for today. We're going to be starting, President Trump, I'd say the next 30 minutes, is going to be doing a huge announcement at the White House in the Oval Office. But they kind of took the cachet away because it's out the bag. People know what he's going to be talking about. I'm going to tell you all about another $100 gazillion being brought to the United States. And I'll tell you who the company is in a second as well. In addition, I've got an interview with Brian Harrison, who's in the thick of things down in Texas, and he's going to bring you up to date as to what's going on with the state of Texas. And I'm going to tell you after the interview why these people are truly freaking out. It's absolutely insane, the reason why they're freaking out, and to the point where they're making not any sense about what they're doing. And then to close the show, which it's a long ways away because I'm sure President Trump's also going to take questions, but to close the show, I've got two sets of interviews with Tulsi Gabbard to show you. I've got one where she was interviewed last night on Laura Ingram's show. You might have seen that. And then we have a long interview that she did today. You may have seen snippets of that here or there, but we're going to show the entirety of that interview once we jump over to Rumble. Yes, tonight there will be a Rumble jump over. We got music to jump over with, everything. So we got a long show planned for you guys today. Before I begin, let's talk to my sponsor for today's show. If someone would have told me that there are science-backed ingredients that could help me feel 15 years younger in a matter of months, I wouldn't have believed it. Then I tried Qualia Senolytic. I'm going to tell you a secret about me, but you probably know it already. I sit in this chair for sometimes up to 8 hours at a time, and I'm wondering how I can do it at my age. Well, have you heard about Senolytics? These groundbreaking ingredients discovered less than 10 years ago are revolutionizing healthy aging. They're truly enhancing our physical prime. Let's be honest, aging isn't kind to our energy and productivity levels. That's why I use, personally, Qualia Senolytic. Imagine feeling 15 years younger in just a few months. Here's the scoop. As we accumulate what's called senescent cells or zombie cells, these zombie cells cause aches, sluggish recovery, and that middle-age energy dip in the afternoon. Qualia Senolytic works like pruning dead leaves, removing these old zombie cells to let healthy ones thrive. And the best part, you only need to take it 2 days a month. If you've seen my previous ad for Qualia Senolytic, that was about a month ago. So if you've been taking it, you should be starting to feel better. Qualia Senolytic is a non-GMO, vegan, and gluten-free with ingredients that complement each other perfectly. Plus, there's a 100-day money-back guarantee. I've noticed higher energy levels, and you probably can tell as well with all the shows that I've been doing. And I feel more productive and enthusiastic in life. Beyond this chair, I do have a life outside my studio, and I couldn't be able to do it, wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't have supplements that make me feel younger and more energized. Experience the science of feeling younger yourself. Go to qualialife.com/Barry for up to 50% off your purchase and use code Barry for an additional 15% off. That's qualialife.com/Barry for an extra 15% off your purchase. Your older self will thank you. And thanks to Qualia for sponsoring this episode.
Welcome back. We're getting more details on the new tariffs for India. Let's get to Megan Casella at the White House. Hey, Megan.
Hey, Leslie, that's right. So we know now that those India tariffs are set to climb to 25% at midnight tonight and then 50% by the end of the month. August 27th is the effective date. But the biggest question, or one of them this morning, has been whether and to what extent Apple will be impacted by these tariffs. So I've been talking with White House officials about this, and what I can tell you now is that the way that this executive order was written is that the 50% tariffs, or the increase to 50%, effectively doubles the reciprocal tariffs that are already set to be at 25%. So because they're just doubling it, it means the same exemptions continue to remain, and those reciprocal tariffs, semiconductors and all derivative products, will remain exempt from all of those tariffs. So the increase to 50% will not impact any semiconductors, any derivative products coming in from India, and that means that Apple already and will remain largely unaffected by these new tariffs. So the increase in the India tariff should not impact Apple based on the way this executive order was written. The other key point that I've been looking at here is the way, again, that the executive order was written is it's about, of course, buying Russian oil. So that title and everything about it is about buyers of Russian oil. India is explicitly named in this executive order, but no other countries are. And interestingly, to me at least, it says that the administration will continue to look at whether other countries are buying indirectly or directly Russian oil. And if they decide that other countries are, then they will recommend whether and to what extent the president should take additional action. And I flag that because India is a big buyer of Russian oil, but it's number two. China is by far the largest. So very interesting to me that in the way they're doing this today, they are not targeting China by any means. They're only using this to hit India. And even though China is right there at the top of the list, they're clearly trying to keep that relationship on a good path, and at least for now, not letting Beijing be involved here. Guys?
Yeah, we mentioned earlier sort of the ad hoc, highly customized trade policy that's been implemented over the past several months. By the way, the India government, Megan's on the tape saying they will take all actions necessary to protect their national interest. Unfortunate the U.S. should choose to impose additional tariffs. And at the same time, Brazil, according to Wires this morning, says that they have requested consultations to the WTO over tariffs. So it's a busy morning for the BRICS in a sense.
It absolutely is. And we know that this administration and this president in particular has been targeting BRICS for a couple of months now, calling them an anti-American organization. I mean, Brazil going to the WTO 10 years ago, that was the right way to do things. At this point, the World Trade Organization doesn't have a ton of authority on the global stage in enforcing these trading rules anymore. So we'll see where that goes. But you're right that they're holding firm. India saying that they're likely to retaliate or at least protect their interests. Russia unlikely to do anything under pressure here. So it's very symbolic. And there is going to be some impact on the tariff front, at least if this does go into effect on August 27th. But for now, not having an impact in terms of the geopolitical negotiations.
Megan, do you think that they're trying to send a signal to China in opting for increasing tariffs related to that Russian oil on India first, trying to send a signal to China that, hey, this is important to us, but they're still kind of leaving the door open for those negotiations?
I would imagine so. This sort of represents to me a card that the U.S. could play, but we've been talking for weeks now about how U.S. officials all the way up to the president have been very open, saying they have a good relationship with China, saying talks in Stockholm went well. So I've always wondered why they were continuing to push this tariff on buyers of Russian oil while they were trying to keep those Chinese talks moving forward. Now we know that they're not targeting China with it, even though it is a big buyer of Russian oil. So to me, it sort of is looming out there now as something that the way it's written, they say they could determine in the future whether another country should be targeted. That would, of course, be China, but they're not doing it yet. So maybe that's part of why we haven't heard yet whether the president is going to extend the August 12th deadline of the tariff truce with China. Maybe this is part of the discussions, or at least is something they could turn to if ultimately they feel like China isn't fulfilling some other aspect of the talks.
And of course, President Trump saying yesterday on CNBC that he will meet with China's Xi if a trade deal is ultimately struck. Megan, thank you.
So President Trump being the master, the maestro deal maker, as it may be, there may be a reason why that carve out was made, that, and this was earlier, hey, Apple, you're going to be okay. All right, so let me tell you what the announcement is today, for those of you who don't know. It says Tim Cook is going to join Trump at the White House for an Apple investment announcement. Apple CEO Tim Cook will join President Donald Trump for an event touting what the White House calls a new $100 billion investment committed by the tech giant here, not in China, here. The announcement in the Oval Office is set for 4:30, includes Apple's commitment to, quote, the new American manufacturing program. So that's going to be the focus of what President Trump is set to unveil tonight, a White House official confirmed to CNBC. The meeting comes as Trump has pushed Apple to make its products in America, which experts say would jack up iPhone prices by hundreds of dollars. Of course the experts are going to say that. They have nothing else that they can possibly say. They want to downplay this. Apple CEO Tim Cook will join President Trump on Wednesday for an event touting the $100 billion investment, as I just said, with the new pledge. Okay, I want to talk about that word for a second. Now the liberals are pouncing on something else. Hey, this is just a pledge. It doesn't really mean it's going to happen. That's how much of a sliver they're trying to hang by. Of course it's a pledge. You know why it's a pledge? Because if 2028 some other president comes in and says we're not going to honor it, well, guess what? We're not going to put more money in. So of course it's a hedge. It's built in just in case. Hey, my agreement is with this current administration. If you guys aren't here and somebody else starts bugging us, then we're not obligated because we're not going to get the same deal from them. Well, if you make the same deal, then you should be okay. But we know if the Democrats get in power, all of this stuff is just going to go bye-bye. All of it. As much of what isn't codified, that is. All right, so continue. With the new pledge, Apple's total investment in the U.S. over the next 4 years now totals $600 billion. You didn't need a whole bunch of laws, just needed a new president. That's what Trump always says, $600 billion. Bloomberg first reported Apple's new investment pledge earlier Wednesday. Watch for that word a lot. They are going to begin making a big deal about the word pledge. You're going to hear it. You're going to wonder, why are they all of a sudden saying pledge instead of investment? They're going to continue to keep saying everything over and over. It's a pledge. It's not real. We don't know. That's why they're going to keep saying it. The meeting comes as Trump has pushed Apple to make its products in America, a feat that experts say would jack up prices by hundreds of dollars, if it can even be done at all. Most of Apple's flagship iPhones have been manufactured in China, though the company is moving some of its production to India, which is why you just heard that talk on CNN talking about how India is about to get spanked, and we already know something's going on with China. So if they're going to put exorbitant tariffs on stuff coming from India, then Apple's like, wait a second, we make most of our stuff over there. Exactly. He's targeting Apple. Do it here, you'll be okay. Do it there, guess what's going to happen? But of course, the people at CNBC don't want to point that out to people whatsoever. Trump has complained about the plan. We're not interested in you building in India. India can take care of itself. We want you to build here, Trump said he told Cook in May. So that's what's about to happen. There's a deal where Apple is going to bring most of its production back here into the United States, and they're going to pledge to bring in $100 billion. Another $100 billion to the United States economy. But the left is going to posture this as though it's going to cause your iPhones to go really, really more expensive. Well, let me guess this. If people are making more money, it's all relative, isn't it? By the way, you don't have to have an iPhone. I'm sorry, you liberal nuts running around protesting and taking videos of your protests. Get a job and you can afford the phone. Or go to Move New York and hang out with Mom Dami or whatever, or whoever that's going to be. But that's what we're about to hear. It's going to be massive. Another $100 billion on top of the other $500 billion. So we are now talking $600 billion. These numbers are so astronomical. It's very hard for the average American to even wrap their arms around it. It's hard for people I talk to wrap their arms around it. I understand it may be hard for you to wrap your arms around it because we've never seen this before. It's not because Americans can't count or Americans don't understand numbers and math and everything else. No, the problem is people are sitting back and going, wait a second, I've never seen this before. And we're only 6 months in. And yet there's polls out there saying that, they're going to vote Trump out. We have never seen the economic stimulus, the economic explosion that we've seen just in the last 6 months. This will be the 7th month. And you actually have panicans. You actually have people out there expecting to convince people that what's going on isn't good. That what's going on isn't going to help their bottom line. And then you get other people say, well, I haven't seen anything yet. Check your state. If your gas prices are still too high, check your state. If your food prices are still too high, check your state. Find out what the people in your state are doing to try to artificially keep things from being so affordable. The Democrats are going to be irrelevant. When I tell you about later what's going on in Texas, I'm going to show you that it's pretty much the reason why the Democrats are fighting is because with everything Trump is doing, they're this close from being completely irrelevant. Done. I'm going to prove it to you. that when you see what I'm going to show you after his speech, you're going to realize, wow, these people are really deep poop, aren't they? Yep, really deep. And the light bulb went off and they went, oh crap, he's coming for us. I never saw it coming. I don't know if other people saw it coming, but it's genius what he's doing. Absolutely stunning genius what he's orchestrating. And the best part about it is they can't stop him. They cannot stop President Trump from what he's doing right now. There's nothing they can do. In addition, he's going to throw in the cog of the whole lawfare stuff with Russian hoax, and then he's going to go after the 2020 election. All this stuff is coming, and they don't have any defenses. It's like they got no air cover. They got nothing. And I'm here to make sure you guys understand. Here's what's coming. Here's how it's going to be. And all the talk they want to do on CNN or MSNBC or on X, it can't help them. We have reached a position right now where these people are totally, not even a little bit, totally submissive to him. There's nothing they can do. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen a game plan. I've never seen anything where I have rendered my opponent completely irrelevant. They can't stop me. Further that, let me talk to you about what happened with Howard Stern today. I think I posted it. Let me bring this up because this is really, really interesting. You all know what happened months ago with Doge and Elon and what they were doing and how they were doing it and how they just went in and surgically took the ability for the Democrats to filter money all around the country. And if you haven't been focusing on this, I want you to take a look at this and really understand what is happening. All right, look at this. Just in the last 6 months, just in this period of time, you've seen Gayle King and her show at CBS. You've seen Colbert. Today we find out about Howard Stern. Media Matters is toast. Joy Reid, gone. Don Lemon, gone. Jim Acosta, gone. More to follow. Lester Holt from NBC, gone. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting and NPR, gone. The View, almost gone. Do you think that's a coincidence? Do you think that all these people have fallen so quickly that these pillars of the Democrat Party have just completely imploded? Oh, what do we got here? Hold on. I might have to bring this in. Wait 1 second. This looks like it's live, so I'm going to see if I can catch this before we get too much further. All right, you guys got to hold on. I got something live going on here that I want to bring to you. Okay.
Speech in American companies in an incredibly coercive and abusive way, as well as their unjust and unlawful detainment and imprisonment of Bolsonaro, and that's been the focus of our sanctions package on Brazil.
Any wording with the latest developments in Brazil regarding what he just mentioned?
Nothing new right now, but happy to share with you as soon as we have
I
it.
want to ask a question, if I may, about the Gaza and humanitarian aid. I read an article that the president finally wants kind of take over so that he can help better the Palestinian, but the situation with the Israeli doesn't seem so clear between Trump and Netanyahu. Can you
Well, I mean, all I can add to that, the president has spoken about this at length publicly, as you know, is that the president continues to be clear about his desire to make sure that Gazans have access to humanitarian aid, and that is a priority for the U.S. government, yes.
Mr. Miller, what are the expectations of this potential meeting between President Putin and President Trump?
Well, again, I'll just say that, to repeat what the president said over and over again, is that his interest here, he inherited Biden's war, and he wants to bring about a peace settlement, and the objective is to stop the killing. And that focus isn't going to change. Yes.
Is it true that the president intends to meet with President Putin as early as next week?
Nothing to add to what's already been said on the subject.
What
Any
about
other
the
questions?
announcement at 4 o'clock? What can you tell us about it? The big announcement that the president will need.
I'm not going
There was
to.
some speculation.
I'm not going to scoop the president. Any other questions?
Just a minute, yeah. So are we expecting any secondary tariffs from countries that do business with Russia?
Well, I mean, as you've seen, there was a massive secondary tariff on India of additional 25%. And it probably surprised a lot of people to know that India is one of the largest purchasers in the world of Russian oil. And probably a lot of people will be surprised to hear that because, of course, they can easily access oil from many other markets around the world. So that's they are one of the largest funders of Russia's army for that reason. One last question. Thank you.
A follow-up on the potential Russia meeting. Does President Trump, you're familiar with the president's thinking, do you think that he would meet with President Putin before there was a ceasefire agreed upon?
I don't want to, it's not for me to set conditions like that. I would just reiterate what I've said before, which is that President Trump has been crystal clear, going back to the very beginning, that Biden is the reason why we are in this war, and that his objective is to find a peaceful settlement so that we can stop the killing and have a humanitarian resolution so that both Russians and Ukrainians can stop dying en masse. And that remains his objective.
So Friday
Thank
is the
you.
Liberation Day confirmed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Stephen Miller just walked out and started taking questions. So I was like, oh, wait a minute, gotta hit the button, bring it in. So anytime he speaks, I definitely want to bring him on because, whew, man, things are happening so fast. All right, speaking of things that are happening so fast, I'm going to get to the part, after this press conference or announcement. We'll talk about how bad the Democrats are doing, and we'll get to the interview with Brian Harrison as well. But this is what President Trump has been talking about today. So let me bring this up. Where are we? Which window are we talking? All right. My special envoy, Steve Witkoff, just had a highly productive meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Great progress was made. Afterwards, I updated some of our European allies. Everyone agrees this war must come to a close, and we will work towards that in the days and weeks to come. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, anybody heard about those submarines that were parked off the coast of Russia? Anybody else reporting about it? Or was that just another head fake that the people in the media jumped all over? Yes, they could be parked over there. None of us would know. We would have no idea, not unless you can see under the water. But nobody's bringing that up anymore. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, then he posted this. I don't know if 11:30 this morning. I am proud to be the only president, with the possible exception of the late great George Washington, to donate my salary. My first paycheck went to the White House Historical Association as we make much-needed renovations to the beautiful People's House. Great improvements and beautification are taking place at the White House at levels not seen since its original creation, Make America Great Again. All right, so I've got one question. Why? Why is President Trump, amongst a bunch of rich people who were president, why is he the only one that's donated his salary? Obama may not have been rich when he came in office, but he was definitely rich by the time he had his second term. Bill Clinton, same thing. Maybe not rich when he came in, but he was rich by the time his second term came in. The Bushes were rich from the day they walked in there. But this guy is Joe Biden, who knows what kind of money he's pocketed. But President Trump is the only one since probably George Washington who's donated his salary. Why? Why is that? Why is he the only one doing this? And why is he doing all the renovations in the White House, some of which he's paying for out of his own pocket? These are the kind of things that the media won't talk about. When they talk about Trump and all the things and denigrating things they have to say about him, they never mention these things. You have to ask yourself why. And that's something you can also talk about as well. It is 4:28. He has not come out yet. Then he reminded everybody about this again today. Politically embattled Senator crying Chuck Schumer wants the Republicans to pay as extortion $2 billion in order for the radical left Democrats to approve the hundreds of Trump appointments who have been waiting for months and are raring to go. This has never happened before. There has never in U.S. history been such a delay. They are extortionists. Republicans must create legislation in order to get out of the grasp of these country-hating thugs. Move quickly. So I read that, as maybe you just read that, and what maybe went through your mind at that point is, how can they move quickly if they're not here? They're gone until September. How can they be moving quickly? Do I know if he's foretelling something? I don't know. But if he wants people to move quickly, and he's putting it out there in public again that they tried to extort $2 billion, not for their own pockets, maybe indirectly, but $2 billion that they wanted to have given to Democrat pet projects in order to, we'll facilitate some of the voting. Here's my hypothesis. My hypothesis in all this is that President Trump is telling you all the bad stuff, even though we know that these people are crooks, letting you know even further, this is how scummy they are. Well, what would be the reason? Because when everything that he does actually comes to fruition, and he does it, and he pulls the trigger on this stuff, he's going to have all this stuff and so much cachet, credit, currency to tell everybody, these people are scum, here's what they've done, and all we're doing is doing a course correction. We're not spinning this thing all around. It was all the way over here, and all we're doing is coming back to the center. And they can't take it. They are losing their minds of the fact that somebody on the Republican Party is simply just going, hey, we're going to make this even again. For the party that screams equity, you would think that this is something they would want, that this would be something that they would cheer. These people are losing it. Absolutely losing it. And I'm here for it. I am absolutely here for it. I don't mean to be so, elusive, but I'm trying not to get into something while we're waiting for President Trump, because if I got into this and I started going with it, then of course he'd walk out and I'd have to stop. So just hold on to that, because when I tell you about this course correction, it's going to blow your mind if nobody has outlined it for you. And when I tell you that he's got these people in a situation where they can't even respond, except for maybe the craziness like we saw at Fort Stewart today. In case you guys don't know, there was an active gunman on the base at Fort Stewart, and a couple people were shot. From what I've understood, nobody has passed on, but they did catch the guy, and of course on YouTube, they don't want you to show his face. He's not of the Middle Eastern variety, but he's non-white. I'll just leave it at that. And to me, it's one of the most heinous things ever is to turn the gun on your own associates. And that's what he did. And what I was very interested in, I'm going to have to ask my brother, who was in the Army for quite a bit, why none of the soldiers had access to weapons. on the base. I don't know. Maybe it's protocol to keep it locked down. Nobody needs to have their weapon ready. But you would think, hey, listen, blow the whistle. Get out there. You guys go hunt down this person. You're the military. I would love to have seen him go, okay, let's rack it, boys. Let's go. Get out there. Let's do some recon and find out where this is coming from. Instead of, I didn't like the videos of them cowering behind buildings and stuff. They look like college kids stuck in, basically hostage. These are soldiers. Are they not prepared to fight? Man, throw the weapon to them. Hey, here, go, ready. I know that's not how it works. Maybe it should work that way. All right, so let me go ahead and take a few comments from you guys while we're waiting for President Trump, and hopefully he won't be going we won't be going for another, 25 minutes or so trying to fill time, because other than that, he should be coming out. Guns are not allowed on military bases except MPs. I never knew that. Thank you very much, Nancy. Wow, never knew that. Maybe they should. Yeah, Marines would have been there quite quickly. I believe that. G-Mark says they did when I was there in 79, but it changed. Interesting. Why did it change? Why did it change? And yeah, okay, good. How did he get a weapon? Exactly. Fort Stewart is, thank you for this information. Fort Stewart is roughly 40 miles southwest of Savannah, Georgia. All right. Monica says, I think they were ordered to shelter and stand down. I could understand that, but my question remains, why? Why are these people not allowed to, do what they need to do to defend themselves? And like the other gentleman said, they used to do it in 79, but they took that away from them. Gary says you can't have a weapon on base. Most guards do not have bullets for their weapons. Well, maybe we need to change that. Maybe that's something that needs to change. Jeffrey says, I just saw the picture of the guy. Yeah, it reminds me of Fort Hood. Yeah, exactly. Of all people, why would our soldiers be sitting ducks? Let's see, who did it? Okay, here it is. Bill Clinton disarmed personnel on military bases. Okay, because I'm thinking those are the guys I want to have weapons, aren't they? My daughter was stationed at Fort Hood when they had that one a couple years ago. Yep, I remember that. That was awful. Of course, that's a whole nother story. I cannot even fathom that it was Big Balls was the guy who they ended up beating up. But it looks like they caught a few of them. I was in from 85 to 92. I had personal firearms, but the MPs do have rounds in their sidearms. All right, well, take these people down. Take them down. Remember former President Obama. I see somebody said Clinton. I didn't know if it was Obama. Yeah, not armed is asking for trouble. What nationality was he? I can't tell. I don't want to speculate. He looks to be American. The name is kind of funny. But, see, I wasn't going to say the name. See, I can't say it out loud here because certain people would have a problem if we said the name and showed the picture. But that Joy just broke it open right there. That's the guy's name. I told you it was a funny name. These people are creative. If nothing else, they are creative with their names. That is for sure. Interesting. No, I think he was from America. Somebody asked, was he not from here? Nope, I believe he was from America. Where was that? G-Mark says, after I got out, they put all guns in the armory except for training missions. It was because a captain got shot. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Corn Pop is a bad dude. Corn Pop is a bad dude. Oh my gosh. I was wondering about this. I was wondering about that one. Whether or not he was of that if he was from there. I don't know. It says he was born and raised in Florida. But was he turned? That's a good question. Was he turned? Yes, I did hear about the new alligator alley in Indiana. It has not been named yet, as I know of. Homan talked to the press about it. Well, in addition to the new alligator Alcatraz type place that they're putting in Indiana, they're doing another one a little bit closer to home here. They're doing one in Jacksonville. And so they're going to continue. Wait a second. We have the presser. It looks like they're talking about what happened at Fort Hood today. Let's go ahead and take this, okay?
11 o'clock, an active duty soldier assigned to Fort Stewart, Georgia, shot and wounded 5 of his fellow soldiers here on Fort Stewart. Thankfully, all are in stable condition and all are expected to recover. The alleged shooter is in custody. We have reestablished security. I have lifted all lockdown measures on Fort Stewart, and there is currently no threat to the local community. I'd like to recognize and thank our Army law enforcement and medical personnel and our partners from local, state, and federal law enforcement and emergency services for their quick response and support. I would also like to thank the brave soldiers who immediately intervened and subdued the shooter. These soldiers, without a doubt, prevented further casualties. Our wounded soldiers were initially evacuated to Wynn Army Community Hospital right here on Fort Stewart. All arrived in stable condition, and 3 of the 5 required surgical intervention. 2 have been transported to Memorial Hospital in Savannah, Georgia for additional care. We have identified the alleged shooter as Sergeant Cornelius Radford, an automated logistics sergeant assigned to 2nd Brigade Combat Team. Sergeant Radford has not previously deployed to combat. Sergeant Radford has been interviewed by the Army Criminal Investigation Division and is currently in pretrial confinement, awaiting a charging decision by the Office of the Special Trial Counsel. Right now, our primary focus is first on caring for our injured soldiers and their families, and also supporting the soldiers of the Spartan Brigade. All of the families of the victims have been notified, and we're wrapping our arms around them and ensuring we provide them all the support that we can. Before I take questions, I want to remind you that this is an ongoing investigation and we're still gathering questions. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll now take your questions.
General Lewis will be in close news. Can you give us what unit he was assigned to and how long he served in the Army? If you didn't mention that.
Yeah, he is assigned to one of our sustainment units here in 2nd Brigade Combat Team at Fort Stewart. And I will have to confirm how long he served with us. Yes, sir.
Russ Bynum with the Associated Press. As best you can, knowing it's still early, can you walk us through where this happened, what happened in the shooting, and were the victims subordinate to the sergeants, or were they people over him in rank?
Yeah, right now it's premature, and we're gathering a lot of the information. What we know is this soldier, the shooting occurred at the soldier's place of work. It did involve his co-workers. We're still not certain about the motivations, but again, he's been interviewed by Army investigators, and we believe we'll gain more information here shortly. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. We don't have any reason to believe it had anything to do with a training event. Other than that, I can't state the motivations for this soldier.
We've heard that the shooter may have been from Jacksonville, Florida. Are you able to confirm that? We also heard that he has maybe been arrested for DUI recently.
Yeah, at this point, I can't confirm where he's from. We can follow up on that. I do believe he was arrested locally for a DUI. That was unknown to his chain of command until the event occurred, and we started looking into the law enforcement databases.
Robin, now from the current, can you tell us whether or not that was a military weapon or whether this was a personal weapon that the person brought with them?
Yes, ma'am. I can confirm it was not a military weapon, and we believe it was a personal handgun. Yes, sir.
What does this mean for ongoing security measures?
Yeah, I'm very confident in the security of this installation. We've got a great partnership with local law enforcement. As you can see here at our gates, we have armed guards in protective equipment. This one's a bit difficult, and we're going to have to determine how he was able to get a handgun to his place place of duty.
Alicia News for Jags. Has the suspect had any prior disciplinary or behavioral issues on base?
No, ma'am, not that we're aware of. But again, it's early in the investigation, but not that I'm currently aware of. I don't have the details on that, but I know that his soldiers in the area that witnessed the shooting immediately and without hesitation tackled the soldier, subdued him, that allowed law enforcement to then take him into custody.
And we've had time for one more question.
I know that you can't speak to the motivation, but if this turns out to be some situation where somebody had extremist beliefs or maybe classified as a terrorist attack, I mean, how does that change the basis of response or the basis of investigation moving forward?
Yeah, currently we have no reason to believe any of that is the case. However, we continuously assess the threat environment, both in the immediate area and across our Army and DoD installations, and we will address the threat level accordingly. Yes, sir, he was a sergeant.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your questions, and again, thanks to the local responders and the local community for their help. Thanks, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so he named the shooter. Was a sergeant. He won't be a sergeant much longer. It was his personal weapon that he brought onto the base. No motive, obviously, was announced as of yet. And so far, it seems as though all the soldiers who were shot are going to survive, that they weren't life-threatening, which is a good thing. SV, he was a good boy, future Mars scientist. He didn't do nothing. MSNBC. Well, MSNBC probably would say, yeah, he didn't do nothing. But CNN is probably working on a story right now and saying he's kind of white. He's a little bit white. You can't really tell with these people anymore. Some of them look kind of white. You know what I mean? Wow. Take weapons away from our soldiers and they have no way to defend themselves. Exactly. There are a lot of, let's see here. You can, where's this? There was, somebody said, notice the beard. He probably had a religious exemption that allowed him to have the beard. Was that a recent photo? Because you're absolutely right. You're supposed to be kind of clean shaven, aren't you? Yeah. Good point. Good point. Stephen Listener says, SB, exactly. I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that at all. Gosh, that's crazy. Sergeant cleaning latrines. He's going to be cleaning a lot of latrines pretty soon. Only MPs are allowed to carry on base. It's stupid. If there was anybody I'd want to have weapons at their disposal, it would be people on a military base. America's hearing the bikes in the background. Yeah. For a second there, it kind of stunned me. I'm like, is something happening? Because I don't know what that was. Bikes. Okay. It's completely insane. He was refreshingly forthcoming compared to regular police. Yep. Unbelievable. Yes, he was. Well, let's see here. They'll show pictures from his kindergarten play where he played with Emma. He was a good boy. Oh, can't say boy. He was a good young man. CNN just reported he looked kind of white. That's what I was saying. Just a janitor, probably. No, he was a sergeant. He was a sergeant in the Army. This is interesting. You're right, Tanny. DUI, Muslims, excuse me. Yeah, they're not allowed to drink. But, well, even more so, when he said that, did anyone else's spidey senses pick up? It's like, wait a minute, he had a DUI, but his commanding officer just found out. How is that possible? How did he get arrested for a DUI and it somehow not get back to his boss, his commanding officer? See, there's a problem. There is a breakdown there. So wherever he got arrested, whether it was Savannah or anywhere else, hey, listen, we're going to have to contact your commanding officer. You're a soldier, and you just got busted for DUI, and his commanding officer said he didn't know. There's a problem. There's a big problem there. Lena says Trump is set to meet Putin next week. That should be good. Kateri says, what? Yeah, he let the cat out the bag with that one. I don't know if you guys heard it. Yeah, he got caught for DUI, and we just found out. Okay, so there's some people going on, whatever police department, I won't say Savannah, because he didn't say he got caught in Savannah, but wherever he got caught, when they pulled this guy over and ran all his information, nobody contacted Fort Stewart and said, by the way, that guy over there, we just busted him for DUI. That's a problem. I think Pete Hegseth is going to stomp on somebody's head if that is actually true. Maybe he was on a weekend leave. I don't care. If you're on a weekend leave and you get drunk, that is a criminal offense. Your CO is got to know about that, especially something like drunk driving. Yeah. Has anyone seen the trunk? Yes, it was awesome. The trunk, American Eagle and jeans. Oh, they're crazy. Oh man. Tommy Stanton says if it was DUI, he would have lost his rank E5. Maybe that's why he was pissed off. Maybe he lost his rank and he was about to get demoted back down or something. I don't know how it works. I haven't been in the Army. What's the pay rank? Was he about to lose some money? Don't know. Soldiers that have a skin condition that causes razor bumps when they shave are allowed to grow facial hair. Yeah, okay. I know what that means. Yeah. What else is going to? But they'll start checking now. Exactly. If you've ever been to Savannah, it's a very, very nice place. I'm getting ads every 2 or 3 minutes. Not from me, you're not. You're getting them from YouTube. YouTube. Okay, let me just explain that for a second. I have my reads, which I do for my sponsors, which one will be coming up to let you know. And then there's a YouTube based on certain characteristics and demographics and words that we're saying while we're doing a video. They also put video ads on the video as well. So I can't do nothing about that. The only thing I could do about that is turn it off, but why would I do that? So I can't help you with that one. I was right the first time. It is what it is with these people. I hear there may be a 250% tariff on pharmaceuticals. I don't know. Wait a minute. Somebody says the sound is almost impossible to hear. Were you talking about the interview or the press conference with the soldier? His microphone was fine. You're often going to have problems with the press. The microphones all point at the guy talking, and none of the microphones point at the people trying to ask questions. So that's just how press conferences are. We've done enough of them where, I'm lucky if we do the White House, people can actually hear the question. But for the most part, when they're doing that kind of thing, it's very hard to hear. Let's see here. People are telling people, if you don't like the ads, go buy YouTube Premium. I don't want our president to go to Russia. I don't think they're going to meet in Russia. I think they're going to meet someplace else. Let's see here. All right. So while we're waiting, let me go ahead and get an ad read out the way from one of our other sponsors. Sorry, but you're not missing anything. This one is very quick, so don't worry. I'm not even taking you off the screen. For those of you turning 65 soon, like me, it could be very important for you. Wait a second. Robin's cooking something. My Medicare advisors at Chapter are helping people cut through the Medicare mess and save thousands of dollars. I am turning 65 soon myself, and I'm getting bombarded with calls and ads. It's sometimes, a lot of times, it can be quite overwhelming. Sat on something. On top of that, I didn't know who to trust. There are a lot of scams and selfish agents out there pushing people into plans that make them more money and don't really help the people as much. But then I was approached by these gentlemen from Chapter, and they asked me, could we do some things with your audience and see if we can't help them? And they said, oh, by the way, how old are you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting there. Well, All my worries and concerns went away when I spoke to the advisors at Chapter. These guys are the real deal, 100%. They start by understanding your needs, not their needs. They're not on commission. Then they compare every single plan to find the one that saves you the most money. On average, they save people $1,100 per year or more. They're totally honest. They work on commission and independent, which cannot be said about everyone in the Medicare space. With one short and free simple phone call, you can feel confident in your Medicare coverage. There's no pressure, no nonsense, just clear, unbiased guidance, and it's completely free. It's completely free for the fanfare community. Free. Don't take chances with your health or your wallet. Get your free, no obligation Medicare advice from friends at Chapter. They're very, very good. Call 475, as you see on your screen, 328-3545. Call them today. You won't regret it. People here in the fanfare community have called them and have found success. You won't regret it at all. In fact, most people wish they'd called Chapter sooner. So go give them a call at 475-328-3545. All right, so President Trump was supposed to come out at 4:30. Let me see if they've posted an additional update. Looks like the last update that they had published said 5:45, and it is now 4:54. So we're already 10 minutes behind the update of the update. That's why I knew what was coming. We had to have some things, make sure we were ready. So let me indeed, I wonder if I should go forward. No, see, everything I got here would take too much time, and if I took too much time, then I would have to stop right in the middle of it, and I don't want to do that. All right, so let's continue this way. Hey, Barry, when you turn 70, you'll be getting funeral notices. Oh, no, you'll be getting funeral notices in the mail. Don't worry, you have 5 more years. Oh, gosh. Oh, that's too crazy. That is absolutely crazy. Wow, you've actually talked to people. Alexander at Chapter is awesome. Really helped me. Fantastic. Let's see here. He has indictments. Who, the guy who did the shooting? Ooh, that's crazy. Let's see here. Wow. I'm looking so thankful to be in the best 5% of the Earth's population. All right, so let's go on and talk about, let's look at some things that are actually in the news. As somebody just said to you, where did I go with that? I just saw it. Let me go down here. Where is it? All right, so I'm going to save this one for later because some news is breaking. Oh, somebody asked. Let me show this. Somebody asked about the President Trump American Eagle ad. I can't play the music, but I can definitely show you the ad. It's really, really funny. Hold on one second here. He hasn't come out yet, so stand by. But this is the ad. President Trump has great genes. Oh, see, and all you guys are worried about AI. Everybody's so worried about AI. And look what you can do with some AI. Put President Trump in the great genes. Oh my goodness. These people are absolutely nuts and insane. There was a piece of stuff here. Let's see, SV sent me something. What you got here? Don't know who. Oh, that's my dealership. I want to find this thing I just saw. There's something that just broke. I mean, and I didn't see who put it out there, but it's very interesting. Let me just check. President Trump has not come out yet. One second. So this just got posted a minute ago while we're still waiting. So maybe they're doing a deal behind the scenes. Breaking: Apple just announced they will be making all Apple iPhone and watch screens in Kentucky, bringing back jobs from overseas. For the first time ever, 100% of iPhone and watch screens will be made in America. The workforce at the Kentucky plant will also be increased by 50%. Wow. Wow. Love it. And I love it that so much of this stuff is coming back here to red states. I mean, I'm not one who hates on, the blue state thing, but this is what I was talking to you guys about a little bit earlier, which I'm going to show you. I'm sorry I'm having to bait you like that, but I cannot get into it without until President Trump speaks, is that he is putting his boot on the neck of these Democrats, deservedly so. And I think that's why, well, I don't think, I'm pretty sure that's exactly why these people are fighting the way they are fighting, is because it's over for them. Now, I wouldn't normally say that. I wouldn't come out and say something so definitive if I didn't feel it really is over for them. I know you guys are like, Barry, don't jinx yourself. No, it's over. That's how strong I feel about what I've seen. Check this out.
Talk a lot about the weaponization of the justice system, but we haven't talked as much about the weaponization of the financial system. One of the worst features of the last 4 years under Biden and Democrat rule, but of course it also precedes that too, is the use of banking and access to the financial system to enforce a regime of censorship and political control, or like something out of a communist country. We all know stories of people who had their platforms, their financial platforms, taken away from them simply because of how they thought or how they spoke or what their political beliefs were. As we've explored this and examined this as the White House, we found these practices are even more widespread than previously known. As you mentioned, they use this pretext of reputational risk as a basis for financial censorship, which is truly odious, truly un-American, truly dangerous to liberty in every sense. So we've worked closely with Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, on developing a financial enforcement mechanism to ensure that those who participate in the banking system are not debanking and financially deplatforming Americans as a result of their political beliefs. And we're hopefully going to have that product finished soon, and we'll be able to bring that to the president for signature. As he's identified, this is a top.
See, now I thought that's what they were going to do today. I thought today's announcement was a debanking announcement. I didn't know it was going to be a giant manufacturing deal with Apple. This also just broke while we've been listening to Mr. Miller. President Trump just abruptly canceled a massive wind farm approved in the final days of the Biden administration. It would have wrecked over 57,000 acres of Idaho land, one of the largest would-be farms in the country. Now it won't. Trump is on an absolute crusade against wind power. Love it. Love it that he's just out there just doing whatever he can at this point to just tear down all the remnants of the Biden administration. And it deservedly so. So as of right now, it is 5 o'clock straight up, and we are still looking for President Trump to come out. So I'm not really sure what he's doing in the background, but we are all just waiting for him to come out at this point. None of the feeds as of right now have shown anything different. Reagan Reese, who we've had on the show a number of times, love talking to her, she said Trump is expected to announce at 4 p.m. that Apple will commit, as I've said, $100 billion to American manufacturing, bringing its total to $600 billion. The White House official adds that today's announcement also includes an ambitious new American manufacturing program. This is going to be very interesting, dedicated to bringing even more of Apple's supply chain and advanced manufacturing to the United States. Before I go much further, I want people to begin explaining to me how it can be even possible that panicans are out there saying Trump's numbers are down. To me, it's a complete mirage. Complete BS. Makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Looks like somebody else is about to do a speech. Hold on, it's not Trump, but it's Peter Miller. Peter.
The India tariffs are very different from the reciprocal tariffs. This was a pure national security issue associated with India's abject refusal to stop buying Russia oil. And the math of this, every American needs to understand, because it's related to the trade situation. You start with the fact that India is the Maharaja of tariffs. It's the highest tariffs in the world, charging on American products, and it's got high non-tariff barriers, so we can't get our products in. So we send a lot of dollars overseas to India to buy their products in an unfair trade environment. India then uses American dollars to buy Russian oil. Russia then uses those American dollars that come from India to finance its armaments to kill Ukrainians. And then American taxpayers are then called upon to pay for the weapons that have to defend Ukraine against Russian armaments paid for by American dollars that came from India. That's got to stop. That math doesn't work. The president understands the connection between economic security and national security, so that was the bottom line there. Second thing, totally unrelated, I want to talk just briefly and make one point about the Russia hoax, because
Can I ask you about the India tariffs first before you do that?
Yeah, sure.
On that front, if that's the rationale, China buys more Russian oil than India does, and they have not been targeted for that. So why is India having its tariffs doubled?
As the boss says, let's see what happens. Keep in mind that we have over 50% tariffs on China already. Okay,
right, but you could
we have,
but they haven't been punished for buying Russian
we
oil.
have
India's
we
been
have
punished for
over 50% tariffs
But
on
not because
China, so we don't
buying
want to get
Russian
to a
oil.
point where we actually hurt ourselves. Okay,
But
so
do you see
that
why people
that
would be
question,
confused by that?
and I think I've given a really good answer to that. We've got tariffs of 50%, and we already have high tariffs on China. So I take your point. President certainly will be working with China on that issue. Okay.
Just on that as well, the president mentioned the money that India makes selling those oil products on the international
Correct.
market. Australia, where I'm from, buys a fair bit
Yes.
from India. Has
Yes.
the administration got its eye on countries that are then buying
Yeah,
that
we're
product from
looking at that all. It's got to stop. I mean, again, think about what I just told you. It's like American dollars buy Indian products, and that sets in motion where those dollars finance a war, which then requires American taxpayers to pay for defending against the Russian armaments. So that kind of trade doesn't work. Okay, that just doesn't work. Now let me just really shift gears radically, because I want to talk a little bit about the Russia hoax, the Grassley report, and the Durham Annex, which came out last week. I had been working with Senator Grassley's office. I got to give him three cheers, because he's been working relentlessly to get out the information about the Russia hoax. And here's what I want to say. I went to prison, as did Steve Bannon, for defending the Constitution, but there isn't a single person associated with the Russia hoax that's been held accountable. And the list is a long one. It goes Obama, Clinton, FBI Director Comey, and the people, other people worked there, like Page and Strzok. It involved the intelligence community in Brennan and Clapper. And the importance of the Durham Annex is that ties it all together and brings also in George Soros and his son Alex and the Open Society Foundation. And there is this is the most sophisticated political scandal that's ever been engineered. No one's been held accountable. Good for Attorney General Pam Bondi for pursuing that. And the most important thing I can tell you, if people are not held accountable for the Russia hoax, they will do it again. If people are not held accountable, they will do it again. And that's what I'm most concerned about. Okay?
Do you believe a secondary sanction still going in place tomorrow? What's the latest decision on that? We had heard yes, but then there was some confusion.
I'm going to check for you.
So it's TBD right now?
I've had to say what I've had to say. What I do, Caitlin, is I think you know this, I never get ahead of the boss. What I try to do is when news is done, then I'll come out and tell you what I think it means.
So not clear if the potential changes that.
asked and answered.
And
Okay,
just to
thanks for
clarify
your
previous
patience.
answer, you would like countries that are buying refined oil
I didn't
products from
say
India
that.
to
I
stop.
didn't say that. You asked me a question whether we were looking at the chessboard. I can assure you we are. Okay, thanks for being civil.
So one of the things you're obviously seeing right there, besides Caitlin Collins being a complete ass, there's a lot going on. And they're only allowed to say what they're allowed to say. There's Peter Navarro who's like, can't talk. Stephen Miller, hey, I'm not getting ahead of him. So they know something's coming. Something big is going to be happening. Something, and the media can smell it. They can feel something is about to break here. I don't know what it is. Obviously, the media doesn't know what it is. Stephen Miller and Peter Navarro, they know what it is, but we're not going to get ahead of the boss. We're going to let him tell you what we're going to do. That's his job. And we have the feed getting ready to come up. Let's see. Yes, we do. All right. Let me cut to the feed. And there we go. Hold on. Let me go ahead and make it big.
I'm going to turn these away so you guys really.
All right. Checking the sound levels here. Make sure you guys can hear. All right, so let me go ahead and cut the sound while they're getting ready to. They're focusing and doing all the stuff that they need to do. Come on, bring it up, bring it back. Okay, now bring the camera down where you're supposed to. Scott Bessent there. Howard Lutnick is there. Waiting for President Trump to walk out any second. And let me go ahead and put comments up on the screen so you guys can comment while this is going on. But in any event, as you heard Peter Navarro and, whoa, hey, we're zooming. As you heard him say, there's something happening, but they're not going to basically get into it at this point until he meaning President Trump, actually says what's about to happen. So we've got all my feeds working. I think we're good with sound. If we can get the cameraman who's operating the feeds to actually get set and stop zooming all around the room, that's fine. Wow, that room looks absolutely stunning. That's the Oval Office. He has done a lot of renovations in it. It's ornate. Lots of gold and all kinds of different things. But anyway, you heard Caitlin Collins making her rumbling and grumbling as she always does. Makes you sick. All they want to do is put out the fangs and fight and just go after the Trump administration. Can't basically give a day where they want to just be okay. Yes, Per Kayla says the White House looks so much nicer now. It does. It looks like a regal room. I'm looking around here, you can see that's a Ronald Reagan picture. And I love how he moves stuff around. So every single time we come in there, it's something different all over again. Let's see what we've got. Waiting for them to fix the feed so that they can get everything right. Trump's definitely added a bit of gold. Yes, he has, indeed. So as soon as he comes out, I'm sure they'll go ahead and get the fixed view. He's going to be sitting obviously behind the desk there. Looking at a bunch of different feeds as people are moving around. You got Andrew Jackson is still up there, and Thomas Jefferson still up there. Ronald Reagan, and of course George Washington used to be somewhere in there in terms of one of the busts or something he would have. Handcuffs for Dems. I don't know what's coming, but something big is coming. If we may not hear it today, but for sure, I think we're about to see something happen. Those guys weren't being cagey just to be cagey. They wanted to make sure, absolutely sure, they did not overstep their bounds, which tells you, and that's what I've been saying for a long time, these people just don't do speeches off the cuff. Hey, go out there and talk to them. Okay, can I say this? No, don't go there. Okay. But now it's starting to get good. Looks like President Trump or somebody's coming in from the side door. All right, he's about to walk in that side door here any second. Let me go ahead and cut to the full feed. One feed has them already talking. I don't know why this feed's... here he comes. Here comes the door. All right. So we're about 10 seconds off on depending on the feed. All right. This is President Trump walking into the room with Apple CEO Tim Cook. All right. Here we go.
Gentlemen, one of the truly great legends of our time, my book. Before we begin, I'd like to say a few words about the shooting at Fort Stewart in Georgia. As you know, 5 people were seriously wounded and 2 very, very seriously hurt around 11 o'clock this morning. The shooter is now in custody, and the Army Criminal Investigation Division is on site to ensure that the perpetrator of this atrocity, which is exactly what it is, will be prosecuted to the...
Let me know if the sound is okay, if the sound is good for you guys.
For the victims and their families, and hopefully they'll fully recover, and we can put this chapter behind, but we're not going to forget what happened. I'm going to take very good care of this person that did this, horrible person. This afternoon, we're pleased to welcome to the White House one of the great and most esteemed business leaders and geniuses and innovators anywhere in the world, Apple CEO Tim Cook. It's an amazing job. Thanks as well to Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent and Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick for being here, wherever you may be. Oh, there you are. Hello, fellas. I missed you. Today, Apple is announcing that it will invest $600 billion, that's with a B, in the United States over the next 4 years. That's $100 billion more than they were originally going to invest. And this is the largest investment Apple has ever made in America and anywhere else. And it's just an honor to have you. As you know, Apple's been an investor in other countries a little bit. I won't say which ones, but a couple. And they're coming home. $600 billion. It's the biggest there is. The company is also unveiling its ambitious new American manufacturing program, which will bring factories and assembly lines across our country all roaring to life. Areas that were not doing so well are doing very well. We have about $17 trillion coming into the United States, which is more than ever before. That's never even come close. There's never been anything like it. Even you, that's even a lot of money for you. But we have commitments of more than $17 trillion. That was as of a couple of weeks ago. These investments will directly create more than 20,000 brand new American jobs and many thousands more at the Apple suppliers like Corning, Broadcom, Texas Instruments, and Samsung, who all deal in that world. As part of this historic commitment, Apple will massively increase spending on its domestic supply chain for the iPhone and will build the largest and most sophisticated smart glass production line in the world in Harrodsburg, Kentucky, which is a great, actually, I did very well there. I like it because I see I did very well there. I did very well in Kentucky, but it's a great place. You're going to be very happy. I thought maybe while we're up, I'll interrupt my own speech by you might show them a little bit about the product that you're going to be doing in Kentucky, Tim.
Absolutely. Do you mind if I step up?
Yes,
here?
please.
This bond was made in the U.S., California, and this glass comes off the Corning line. It's engraved for President Trump. It's a unique unit of one. It was designed by a U.S. Marine Corps corporal, a former one, that works at Apple now.
That's good. He's done well.
Designed it for you. And the base comes from Utah and is 24 karat gold. And it sits, I'll take the liberty of setting it up.
Wow.
Well, let's see. There we go. Congratulations,
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
President.
It's
Thank you so
fantastic.
much.
The great people of Kentucky. You're going to find it a great place to do business, too. It's fantastic. Isn't that nice? We're doing these things now in the United States instead of other countries, faraway countries. This is a significant step toward the ultimate goal of ensuring that iPhones sold in the United States of America also are made in America with the mass infusion of capital it's announcing today. Apple will also build a 250,000 square foot server manufacturing facility in Houston and invest billions of dollars to construct data centers across the country from North Carolina to Iowa to Oregon. That's big stuff. Apple will also open state-of-the-art manufacturing economy. It's going to be a manufacturing academy in Detroit, and that's a great place to do. Well, you know, big things are happening in Michigan and Detroit. They're coming in because of what we've done with the, I call it the Great Big Beautiful Bill. I added one word, great. But we have probably the biggest, most comprehensive piece of legislation ever passed. It's going to mean unbelievable numbers of jobs and no jobs on, think of this, whether it's tips or overtime or Social Security, no tax. So no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. And there's just a small bit of it. For Apple and others businesses, we're talking about the deductions and all of the things. And actually for people that go out and buy a car, first time it's ever been done, we talk about deductions for companies, but they're going to be able to deduct interest when they borrow money to buy a car if it's made in America. It has to be made in America. So it is amazing. And one of the reasons I think I can say that Apple's coming here is the legislation we just passed with this kind of investment. Apple will also open other facilities, rare earth magnets from Texas, and build, oh, I love that you're doing this. I love that. I love that. And build a brand new rare earth recycling line in Mountain Pass, California. I know that area. That's where they have a lot of truly rare earth. That's fantastic. I love that. And Apple will help develop and manufacture semiconductors and semiconductor equipment in Texas, Utah, Arizona, and New York. For years, Americans have watched as many of our leading tech giants built their factories overseas and exported American jobs abroad. But under the Trump administration, we're doing everything possible to make this the best place on earth to build a factory or grow businesses. I'm allowing them to build electric producing plants with their factory, because otherwise they'd have to hook into the grid. And I think it's one of the biggest things we've done, where you can build, Tim, your own electricity. You become your own electric manufacturer, and that goes along with the plant. So you become a utility. So congratulations, now you're in the utility. I hope they don't value your company based on utility, but that's okay. You're going to be making your own electricity, and as you probably know, for much of this and many of the things that we're doing, especially the AI, they would need actually double the electricity that the country now produces for everything. So it's massive electric, and they're going to be able to make their own, and they're getting very fast approvals. Lee Zeldin is doing a fantastic job, including with a 100% expensing on the one big, beautiful bill. In return, we're asking our businesses to invest in America, and they're coming in at levels that we've never seen before. So I don't know when it shows up, but there are a lot of factories and a lot of plants that are either under construction or soon will be starting construction. So can't tell you exactly when, but I want to be around in about a year from now and 2 years from now, because we're going to see an explosion, I think, like this country has never seen before. Never. Today's announcement is one of the largest commitments in what has become among the greatest investment booms in our nation's history, and we've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. You know, I told you the story that, and Tim, I'll tell you, but I went to the Middle East, and I was with Qatar, I was with UAE, and the King of Saudi Arabia, all great leaders. And then I went to NATO and saw many great leaders, and we just finished that about 4 weeks ago. Everyone, virtually everyone, said, in effect, that we were a dead country 1 year ago. America, this was a dead country. We were dying, we were dead. And now you've got the hottest country anywhere in the world. This would have never happened except for certain people. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. NVIDIA is investing $500 billion to go along with Apple, $600 billion. $600 billion. Micron, great company, is investing $200 billion. IBM is investing more than $150 billion. SoftBank is investing substantially more than $100 billion. TSMC is investing $200 billion. Johnson & Johnson, $55 billion. Merck, Stellantis, and General Motors are putting many, many billions in. They haven't determined the final number. And many other countries are investing tens of billions of dollars, and I'm not going to give you the whole list because the list is too long to read. But it's hundreds of billions and even trillions. I mean, it's trillions of dollars that's being invested right now. Last week, it was announced that our economy grew at 3% in the second quarter, and consumer confidence is surging. Blue-collar wages are rising rapidly. Costs are way down. You know, I listen to these horrendous frauds on CNN and various other fake news networks, and they say costs are up. No, costs are down. Gasoline is down. It's going to soon, I believe, be less than $2 a gallon. It's around $2.40 right now, many places, other than in California where they tax you out of business, but and a couple of others. But gasoline is way down. The price of groceries are down. How about eggs? When I first came here, my first week, the press hit me very hard on eggs. Eggs had quadrupled or something. I said, I didn't know about it. Give me a chance. I've just been here for 4 days. Well, eggs are down. Everything's down. Price is down. The only thing that's up is stock prices. That's really up, and that's through the roof. The stock market has been hitting all-time records, all-time highs. Last week, it was announced that our economy grew at levels that we haven't seen in a long time, but the real levels of growth are going to be judged in a year from now when you start seeing some of these incredible plants, because we have car plants opening. They're coming in from Canada, from Mexico, and from all over the world. And they're coming in because they like the way the election worked out, but they also like the fact that they don't want to pay tariffs. And the tariffs, I think, we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs. I won't be so specific other than to say, because we don't even know what the final number is. We just made a deal, as you know, with the EU where they're paying hundreds of billions of dollars. Japan paying hundreds of billions of dollars, and numerous other countries paying hundreds of billions of dollars. And we're not even completed there. And as you know, they found $25 billion 3 weeks ago. They said, we have a surplus of $25 billion. And they said, where did this come from? I said, check the tariffs. And they checked. They said, you're right. That's where it came from. And we've really just started. This is just in its infancy. So we have a great country. We have a country that is going to be very rich. It's a country that we're very proud of, but it's going to be very rich. And it's companies like Apple, they're coming home. They're all coming home. And we want them to come home. They have to come home. We're going to treat them really well. We're going to be putting a very large tariff on chips and semiconductors. But the good news for companies like Apple is if you're building in the United States or have committed to build, without question committed to build in the United States, there will be no charge. In other words, we're not going to be charging. So a lot of countries, a lot of companies are leaving various other places and they're coming to the United States. So in other words, we'll be putting a tariff on of approximately 100% on chips and semiconductors. But if you're building in the United States of America, there's no charge, even though you're building and you're not producing yet in terms of the big numbers of jobs and all of the things that you're building. If you're building, there will be no charge. So I just want everyone to know that. And I didn't even tell you that inside. We discussed the concept, but I didn't. So it's a big factor. So 100% tariff on all chips and semiconductors coming into the United States. But if you've made a commitment to build, or if you're in the process of building, as many are, there is no tariff. Okay? If for some reason you say you're building and you don't build, then we go back and we add it up, it accumulates, and we charge you at a later date. You have to pay, and that's a guarantee. So that's a big statement, and I think the chip companies are all coming back home. They're all coming back. You know, we started with Intel, and gradually Intel was just taken over the coals. They were taken to the cleaners, frankly, and moved to other places, in particular Taiwan. But I think a lot of those A lot of those companies are coming back, and they're coming back very rapidly, so that's a big statement, 100% tariff. I want to thank you very much. Tim, would you like to say a few words about your company, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. President, thank you very much for having me here today. You've been a great advocate for American innovation and manufacturing, and I'm grateful for your leadership and your commitment. That's a commitment we share at Apple because American innovation is central to everything we do. Our products are designed here, we're hiring and growing here, and we support 450,000 jobs with thousands of suppliers and partners in all 50 states. Earlier this year, we made our largest ever spending commitment, $500 billion to the U.S. over the next 4 years. That's already yielding results. Earlier this year, we broke ground on a new factory in Houston to make advanced AI servers. And just last month, the very first test unit rolled off that factory's line, proudly made in America. President Trump shared some kind words about that work, but he also asked us to think about what more we could commit to doing. And Mr. President, we took that challenge very seriously. I'm glad to be here with you today, and I'm very proud to say that today we're committing an additional $100 billion to the United States, bringing our total U.S. investment to $600 billion over the next 4 years. As a part of this, we're launching Apple's American Manufacturing Program. It will spur even more production right here in America for critical components used in Apple products all around the world. And we're thrilled to announce that we've already signed new agreements with 10 companies across America to do just that. First, with today's announcements, I'm proud to say that Apple is leading the creation of an end-to-end silicon supply chain right here in America, from design to equipment to wafer production to fabrication to packaging. In Texas, we're working with manufacturers like Texas Instruments, Global Wafers America, and Applied Materials. We're working with Amcor in Arizona and Broadcom and Global Foundries in New York. Thanks to President Trump's vision, and with his help in his first term, we also led the way to bring TSMC to Arizona by committing to be their first and largest customer. Today, they're producing tens of millions of chips for Apple using one of the most advanced process technologies in America today. We're going to keep working with our suppliers to move even more of this incredibly advanced work to America. And this year alone, American manufacturers are on track to make 19 billion chips for Apple in 24 factories across 12 different states. Second, we're committed to buying American-made advanced rare earth magnets developed by MP Materials, which will become part of Apple's devices shipped around the world. MP is the only fully integrated rare earth producer in the United States, and with this partnership, they'll be significantly expanding their flagship facility in Fort Worth, Texas. We're also thrilled to work together on a cutting-edge rare earth recycling line in Mountain Pass, California. And third, in Kentucky, we've worked with our partners at Corning to build the world's largest and most advanced smartphone glass production line. And I'm pleased to announce that very soon, this is for the first time ever, every single new iPhone and every single new Apple Watch sold anywhere in the world will contain cover glass made in Kentucky. In addition to the American Manufacturing Program, we're also significantly growing our investments in AI, including expanding data center capacity in North Carolina, in Nevada, in Iowa, in Arizona, and Oregon. So we're going to keep making investments right here in America. We're going to keep hiring in America. And we're going to keep building technologies at the heart of our products right here in America. Because we're a proud American company, and we believe deeply in the promise of this great nation. Thank you all, and thank you, President Trump, for putting American innovation and American jobs front and center. Thank you, sir.
Great honor.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. What a job he's done. What a job. Incredible. I want to thank you very much, and thank you, JD, for helping along. Good job. Really good job. Any questions, please?
Mr. President,
yes.
You promised on the campaign trail to bring forth a manufacturing renaissance. You just mentioned $17 trillion in your first 7 months or so.
Right.
Can you talk about how an investment like this, all the other ones that you laid out, will positively impact the millions of Americans that trusted you with their vote?
Thank you very much. It changes our country. I mean, our country is a very different country than it was 6 months ago. And people like Tim are coming. We had Micron in yesterday. We had all of the big, great companies that you read about, you don't know about, but you read about. Many of them were making products outside of our country. Foolishly, we lost them. If we had the right person sitting in that seat, that would have never happened 20 and 30 years ago. When you look at the chip business, it would have never left our shores. We had 100% of chips originally, and then we slowly got taken down to nothing. We have the biggest chip companies, to both of them, but we have the biggest in the world coming in. They're going to Arizona and beyond. And we're going to have, in a short period of time, we'll be up to almost 50% of the chips from starting in nothing. And that's something. But we have the greatest companies in the world coming into our country. And that means jobs, and it means wealth. And wealth means security for our people. Okay? Brian?
Yes, sir. Congratulations on this investment. President Trump in.
Thank you.
Great example of putting America first. What does the labor force look like to fill these jobs that you have? Do we have enough skilled American workers to fill these?
Well, we do have a lot of workers, and we have a lot of workers that hadn't been looking for work because they were disincentivized, frankly. And people like Tim have tremendous schools and training centers that they build along with a lot of their big plants where they train people on whether it's glass, like in Kentucky, or computers, or whatever they might be doing. It's a complex world, and they train people, and they do a great job. So it's a whole new workforce. Now, we have a lot of them in energy because, you know, they've always liked energy. As you know, coal has opened up and opened up big. We brought it back and brought it back in a very large way. You know, China's right now building 58 coal-fired plants, 58 big ones. And here we were saying we don't take coal. We have more coal than anybody else in the world. We have more oil and gas than anybody else in the world. But we have tremendous energy jobs. And the energy, as you know, we're booming with energy. And that's why the gasoline prices are down. Costs are down. I just hope when they watch these shows, I watch this, I won't use names because I just make them better known that nobody knows who they are. But I watch this group of people on CNN and MSDNC too, the same thing, where they say, well, costs have gone up. Costs haven't gone up, they've gone down. I'm telling you, the thing that's gone up is stock prices, and success of our country. Our country is really, really doing well, successful. Yes, ma'am?
Yes, Mr. President, have Putin and Zelensky agreed to a summit yet? And where and when would that be?
Well, there's a very good prospect that they will. And we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today. And there's a very good chance that we could be ending the round, ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very soon.
How close do you think you are to a deal?
Excuse me?
How close do you think you are to some kind of deal?
Well, I don't want to say. I've been disappointed before with this one. You know, we've solved 5 wars, plus add to that Iran, where we wiped out their nuclear capacity for weapons. They would have had a weapon within 2 months, maybe less, and that was totally obliterated. Turned out it was a total obliteration, and the pilots and the people that did that job are really, we have the greatest armed forces in the world, but that was really something. In fact, there's a model of the plane right there. So, you got to bring that up, Susie. We have to see that. Look at this. This was just given to me. You know, we ordered brand new B-2 bombers. This is a plane that over a period of 36 hours of constant flying. Look at this. So this is the brand new one they just ordered. Similar, but actually quite different. It's new and enhanced. It's an amazing machine. It went 36 hours we had 52 tankers up in the air loading up our planes because this was surrounded by F-22s and F-35s, and it was flawless, Tim. Even you would say it was flawless. And every one of those bombs hit their target. And then we had Tomahawks shot in from a submarine 300 miles away, and they hit every single Tomahawk hit its target. It was amazing. And that was a big threat. That was a nuclear threat. And here's the new one that we just ordered, a large number of them. I'll put it up.
Mr. President, what was the breakthrough today? Did Vladimir Putin make some kind of concession that he hasn't been willing to make before?
I don't call it a breakthrough. I mean, we've been working on this a long time. There are thousands of young people dying, mostly soldiers, but also, missiles being hit into Kiev and other places. But in terms of soldiers, I think Russia's lost over 20,000 since the beginning of the year. 20,000. And I guess the estimate for Ukraine is about 9,000. It's a terrible situation. We want to get it stopped. We don't have American soldiers there, but I feel I have an obligation to get it stopped. This was not my war. This war would have never started, not even a chance. And it didn't start for 4 years. It went 4 years and it didn't start. But this is Biden's war. This was on his watch. And, it's funny, we had no land was taken from Trump. It was taken from Bush. It was taken from Biden. The whole thing they would take from Biden if it weren't for us. But it was taken by Obama. Take a look at what was taken with all of the land that was taken. Nothing was taken by Russia from us. Not 1 ounce of land was taken. I'm here to get the thing over with. It would have never started if I were president, and we're here to get it stopped and get the death stopped. Yeah, please.
President, in the past, you said you would know if Putin was passing you along. What gives you any confidence that he is or isn't doing that this time around?
Can't answer the question yet. I'll tell you in a matter of weeks, maybe less. But we've made a lot of progress. And as you know, we put a 50% tariff on India. On oil, they're the second largest. They're very close to China in terms of the purchase of oil from Russia. But so I don't know if that had anything to do with it. But we've had very productive talks today. Yes, ma'am?
President Trump, on federalizing D.C., are you considering taking over the D.C. police? Is that an option on the table?
We're considering it, yeah, because the crime is ridiculous. I could show you a chart comparing D.C. to other locations, and you're not going to want to see what it looks like. It was just up on television, actually, they were showing it. Now, we want to have a great, safe capital, and we're going to have it. And that includes cleanliness and it includes other things. We have a capital that's very unsafe. We just almost lost a young man, beautiful, handsome guy that got the hell knocked out of him the night before last. And I'm going to call him now. We wanted to give him a little recovery time. We just put a call into him. They're calling back in a little while, but he went through a bad situation, to put it mildly, and there's too much of it. We're gonna do something about it. So whether you call it federalized or what, and that also includes the graffiti that you see, the papers all over the place, the roads that are in bad shape, the medians that are falling down, the median in between roads that's falling down. We're going to beautify the city. We're going to make it beautiful. And what a shame. The rate of crime, the rate of muggings, killings, and everything else, we're not going to let it. And that includes bringing in the National Guard, maybe very quickly, too.
And do you want Congress to look at overturning the D.C. Home Rule Act?
We're going to look at that. In fact, the lawyers are already studying it. We have to run D.C. This has to be the best-run place in the country, not the worst-run place in the country. And it has so much potential. And we're going to take care of it. You're going to be safe. You're going to be safe walking down streets. You're not going to get mugged.
Mr. President, if you do reach a deal with Ukraine and Russia, would you drop the additional tariffs on India?
Well, we'll determine that later. But right now they're paying a 50% tariff. Okay.
Yeah, please. One for Mr. Cook as well.
Yeah, please. Sure.
The president wants a made in the USA iPhone. What are the chances that you can actually make that happen?
Well, if you look at the bulk of it, we're doing a lot of the semiconductors here. we're doing the glass here, we're doing the Face ID module here, and so there's a ton of it. And we're doing these for products sold elsewhere in the world. And so there's a lot of content in there from the United States.
But what about the whole thing?
We're very proud of it.
Can you make the whole thing
is
here?
just the final assembly that you're focused on. And that will be elsewhere for a while.
He makes many of the components here, and we've been talking about it, and the whole thing is set up at other places, and it's been there for a long time. So in terms of the cost and all, but I think we may incentivize him enough that one day he'll be bringing that. But he brings most of the stuff. Look, he's not making this kind of an investment anywhere in the world, not even close. He's coming back. I mean, Apple's coming back to America. Thank you.
Mr. President, Indian officials have said that there are other countries that are buying Russian oil.
It's okay.
Like China, for instance,
It's
buys
okay.
more.
Yeah.
Why are you singling India out for these additional
It's
sanctions?
only been 8 hours. So let's see what happens over the next.
Sanctions
you're going to see a lot more.
So this is a taste of
You're
what's
going to
come.
see a lot more. You're
Mr.
going to see so much secondary sanctions. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, you were the driving force behind Operation Warp Speed, these mRNA vaccines that are the gold standard.
Right.
Now your health secretary is pulling back all the funding for research. He's saying that the risks outweigh the benefits, which puts him at odds with
Research
the
on
entire
what?
medical community and with you. What is going on
Research on what?
into mRNA vaccines?
Well, we're going to look at that. We're talking about it, and they're doing a very good job. And, you know, that is a past. Operation Warp Speed was, whether you're Republican or Democrat, considered one of the most incredible things ever done in this country. The efficiency, the way it was done, the distribution, everything about it has been amazing. But, you know, that was now a long time ago, and we're on to other things. But we are speaking about it. We have meetings about it tomorrow at 12 o'clock, and we'll determine. We're looking for other answers to other problems, to other sicknesses and diseases, and I think we're doing really well. Yes, ma'am, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said many times that you want to stop wars in the Middle East. Now Prime Minister Netanyahu is contemplating reoccupying Gaza entirely. Is he defying you, sir, or are you giving him a green light?
Well, we have stopped wars in the Middle East by stopping Iran from having a nuclear weapon, and they're you know, they can say they're going to start all over again, but that's a very dangerous thing for them to do, because we'll be back. As soon as they start, we'll be back. And I think they understand that. They're just words. But no, we've stopped a lot of wars in the Middle East. If you think about what we did with Iran, Iran was the perpetrator of hate, a very evil place, and I think it's going to be a lot different in the coming years.
Mr. President, on the India penalties, do you have any similar plans to enact more tariffs on China as it relates
Could
to their
happen.
purchases?
Could happen. Depends on how we do. Could happen.
Brian, I've got an entertainment-based question for you. A few weeks ago, Stephen Colbert announced that he was leaving his show. Howard Stern announced that him and Sirius XM Radio are parting ways. Do you think the hate Trump business model that's been in the entertainment business is going out of business because it's not popular with the American people?
Well, it hasn't worked, and it hasn't worked really for a long time, and I would say pretty much from the beginning. Colbert has no talent. I mean, I could take anybody here. I could go outside on the beautiful streets and pick up a couple of people that do just as well or better. They get higher ratings than he did. He's got no talent. Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going. I don't know, but I would imagine because they get, you know, Colbert has better ratings than Kimmel or Fallon. You know that. Howard Stern, it's a name I haven't heard. I used to do a show. We used to have fun, but I haven't heard that name in a long time. What happened? He got terminated?
Yeah, they're going to separate ways because I think what they're offering salary-wise is real low than what he's getting.
You know when he went down?
Whenever you want.
You know when he went down? No, before. When he endorsed Hillary Clinton, he lost his audience. People said, give me a break. He went down when he endorsed Hillary Clinton.
Mr. President, have you talked to Governor Cuomo? Started interviewing Fed candidates yet?
Yeah,
And
we've
are you
started the
considering
interviewing
that?
process. Scott and I and Howard, a lot of people, JD, we have some great candidates. It's probably down to 3. He doesn't want the job. He said, do you like this job better?
Yes, sir.
I mean, he was a candidate, but I don't think he'll take it. I really don't think he'd take it, actually.
Are there any candidates from Wall Street, Mr. President?
Yeah, essentially we're all from Wall Street, aren't we? You know, when you get right down to it. The term Wall Street. Yeah, please.
Yep, you made your tax cuts permanent. You mentioned that the tariffs are bringing in a ton of external revenue. You've opened up markets, the EU, Japan, South Korea, many others, to American goods like we've never seen before. How much growth can we expect in the economy now that this model of yours is sort of beginning to really take off?
Well, I think the growth is going to be unprecedented. I think we're going to have growth that's unbelievable. Now, remember, we're building and just starting to build a lot of these incredible plants. We talked about the electric facilities that we're building, the generating plants, electric generating plants. Are massive, and they're going to be great. And they're going to sell excess electricity into our grid. So we're going to be having much more electricity than we ever had. And those plants are going to be taken care of individually. I know Tim is building one in one of his big factories, but especially for AI because it needs so much electricity. So I appreciate the question very much. I think the growth is going to be unprecedented.
Did you have a phone call with Andrew Cuomo? Did you speak to Andrew Cuomo?
I haven't. No, I haven't.
Mr. President, have you been briefed on what Ghislaine Maxwell told Todd Blanche?
No, I haven't. Have
you
not.
don't know whether
I don't
came
know.
up in the
I know Todd is a
conversation or
very
not?
respected person all over the country, all over the world legally, so I don't know.
Mr. President.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Will the new Fed governor be temporary?
We're probably going to go with a temp and then a permanent, I think.
Are the two
So the temp is going to be named, I'd say, over the next 2-3 days, and then we're going to go permanent.
Are the two Kevins the leading contenders for the permanent spot for the chair?
Well, the two Kevins? The two Kevins are absolutely, yeah. They're both very good.
Mr. President.
The two Kevins, very good.
Mr. President, is Vice President Vance hosting a gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
I saw it reported today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats because we've had the most successful 6 months in the history of our country, and that's just a way of trying to divert attention to something that's total bullshit. Okay? Yeah, please.
A new Gallup poll says that Elon Musk is the most unpopular public figure in the country right now. I'm wondering, do you miss having him around the White House, or is that poll accurate?
I don't know if the poll's accurate. I think he's a good person. I think he had a bad moment, really bad moment, but he's a good person. I believe that.
President Trump, are you keeping that 10 to 12 day deadline?
China facing potential secondary sanctions for
Yeah.
Russian oil. Them having that tariff or sanction rather, or not, hinges on what going forward?
It may happen. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you yet, but we did it with India. We're doing it probably with a couple of others. One of them could be China. Yes.
Are you keeping that 10 to 12 day deadline that you had given Russia after today's talks?
Yeah, we're pretty much getting close to it right now, but we're having very serious talks right now about getting out of Ukraine, getting it settled, getting it ended. Should have never started, would have never started. If I were president, it would have never started. I want to thank Tim Cook. He's a great, great man, a visionary, a businessman, just about every quality he can have other than athleticism. I don't know about that. I'm looking at him. I'm not 100% sure about you. You're a good athlete. I'll bet you're pretty good. I think he's good at everything, but I want to thank you very much, Tim. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Thanks, guys. Right here. Cut it out. Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Fred. Thanks, guys. Let's go. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Right behind you. Thanks, guys. You're right this way. Thank you, Fred. Thank you, Fred.
Come on over here.
Let me talk to you guys about this knife here. Many of you have seen from Patriot Addict the Trump Red Knife. That's the Trump Red Knife right here. Good knife. A lot of people have gotten it and said they really like it. So they came out with a new product, and this new product is the Trump, there it is right there, the Trump Signature Blade. Pretty cool packaging, how they put this together. Knife is pretty much the same knife mechanically. It has all the same features, quick release and everything else that's got it. But the difference is it is painted differently. It's got 45, 47 on it. It's got flag. It's got a different aura to it. Most importantly, it's got a stencil on it where it's got President Trump's signature on the actual blade. And it's very, 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 very sharp. Sharper than the other one, I think. You can get this knife for free. All you've got to do is go to the QR code right here and order it up, and you will get it. And it is a special just for the fanfare community. Why are they doing it? Because you guys have been so good in helping them and helping this channel grow. They're offering this knife for free. Now the catch is, if there is a catch, is that you just have to pay for shipping. Shipping being about 14, 15 bucks or so. And that's it. No subscriptions. No ongoing fees, don't have to sign up for anything. Just go to the QR code right here and you can pick up this knife for just the cost of shipping. It regularly retails for 70 bucks, but that's all you do is pay the shipping and they'll get it out to you pretty quick. And trust me, just from all the different people who have written about it, you're going to love it. You're going to love it. Thanks guys from Patriot Addict for helping out with the show. All right, so we listened to President Trump. Man, what, there's so much that he talked about, things that struck out at me is the sheer numbers, the size of the deals, what he's bringing into this country, hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars. And it seems like every week, sometimes twice a week, here we come again, another gazillion dollars. Then the interesting part about maybe it looks like he's actually going to take over and do something about Washington, D.C. And he mentioned the military. So I would just love for people, including, people who I talk to, like Mark Mitchell from Rasmussen, how in the hell can this guy not win or not be higher in the polls? Somebody would have to prove to me that you're not polling functional idiots. There's no way people who actually have a brain who aren't communists would be voting against this prosperity. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I've banged my head against the wall over and over and go, you gotta be kidding me. Have people been brainwashed that much to think that you should, I don't know, eat the bugs and live in the pod and not aspire? You shouldn't want more? I don't know, maybe you have, because I see people in our own community here who shy away when I start talking about prosperity and money. It really makes you think. If people who voted for Trump, who knew that this is what he was going to do, make America more prosperous, make America wealthy again, if he ran on those things and told you what he was going to do, then people even here in this community just look like they've seen Dracula or something. Instead of going, yes, yes, we can do everything. And you're seeing these numbers and it scares people. I don't know why. I can't fathom it. Why would you want to vote against anything other than what you're seeing? Why would you turn away from this? What aspect of what President Trump is doing and continuing to do would you say somebody else can do better? You'd have to be lying to yourself when you think about it, because nobody has. So if you think that Kamala and Tim Walz or Beto O'Rourke or Gavin Newsom or fill in the blank would be doing better, then you have to ask yourself, why haven't they? Every single person that they consider an opponent to President Trump has had the opportunity to show that they can actually make things happen. How do you contrast Gavin Newsom with President Trump, with everything that you're seeing over there in California? How do you look at what Kamala Harris, who has 4 years with Joe Biden and still a front runner for the Democratic presidency? How? Tell me how. AOC? Huh? She's a bartender. Mondami? Well, he's just getting on the scene, but trust me, he's following the same trajectory that they did with Barack Obama. Just showed up, was a small little senator in the state of Illinois, and then the next thing you know, he's running for president. You're like, who? So you please tell me. I'll look in the comments. You guys tell me how in the hell any American, that might be the problem, any American in their right mind can look at what's happening and go, yeah, I think I'm in for Kamala. Oh, I love what Gavin Newsom's doing. Why would anybody say that? And I would love to have a serious question. And I mean, I may bring Mark Mitchell back on, and that'd be the only question. How in the hell is anybody voting against this safety, this prosperity, this energy, this focus, this ambition for America? How is anybody voting against that? And if you right now are thinking, you know what, I don't really see nothing happening, then you're not looking. Seriously, when I look in the comments here and I see some stuff, and I see people going, oh, my gas isn't lower. My food prices aren't lower. Like, well, maybe you should do some investigation and figure out why it's not lower. I'm in a very, very large state. I'm here in Florida. But it's also a very, very expensive state. Especially over here where I am in South Florida, in Boca, it's a very, very expensive area. So if for some reason our grocery prices are going down and our gas prices are going way down, how in the hell can other people's gas prices still be high? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense until you start digging in. And maybe then you can find out, why are your prices still high? What are the state excise taxes they're putting on your gas? Where are you getting your food from? Are they putting different kind of self-imposed tariffs on your food? I think that's what people have to begin doing, because President Trump doesn't control what your local area tax on. I think some of you be shocked when you found out how much tax went into a gallon of gas. And then you're like, oh, Barry down in South Florida, they're paying the same for gas, but they're not paying all this other stuff that you guys have to pay for. Or maybe people in the chat just are just saying it, because it doesn't make any sense how down here, where everything's more expensive, we're paying less for gas and food. I don't know. They call Ron DeSantis a genius. I don't know. But it calls into question what the heck other people are feeling. Interesting. And if blue states bet they won't lower as much. Nope. Blue states like Illinois. Yeah, and there are a lot of good people in these other states, but they're being crushed by their own local government. 270, Las Cruces, New Mexico. Awesome. If your prices aren't lower, you probably live in a blue state like me. Exactly. See, President Trump can't control the price at the store. He can only control the price as it's coming. And not even then. He can try and drive down gas prices. He can try and drive down egg prices, but it's still up to the local retailers and the state to just make it happen. That's where you need to really go start digging. Start digging and finding out what people are doing. Where I live, Barry, the housing market is crashing. And it's crashing here. It's not doing good other places. Fire Powell dropped the interest rates. Why is the housing market crashing? Is it crashing because there's not enough people that want to buy or can afford the house? Or is it crashing because too many people are trying to sell? Real estate, like most other things, is simply supply and demand. If there's more people selling, then, that causes prices to go down. If there are more people buying, then that causes prices to go up, regardless of the interest rate. If you live in an area where supposedly it's crashing, why are more people trying to sell than there are buyers? Buyers, you understand, they're probably waiting for a lower interest rate. If I was looking to be a retail buyer, meaning somebody moving into a house, if I was a retail buyer and I know, because President Trump has said it often enough, yeah, September they're going to lower the rates, and then in May we're going to hire somebody else who's really going to lower the rates, what would I do? I'm like, well, honey, we're going to stay here until at least May, all right? We'll sit here in May, and then when everything, all the rates come down, then we'll buy. So if you're a seller, you might want to wait 5 or 6 months. Like, wait a second. This guy Powell's screwing up everything. How about we take our house off the market so it doesn't look like we're chasing a falling knife, and then just wait 6 or 7 months when things start changing because of this guy who's artificially inflating interest rates. I've told people that. Just put your house off the market. Don't let it sit there like it's not selling. Take it off the market and then wait. Watch what happens when the interest rates go down. You're going to get a lot better price because people can afford a lot more home. That one's for free. You can have that one for free. All right, house prices are still too high. Where does that go? Okay, let me address this question, or not a question, a statement. House prices are still too high. Younger Americans just can't afford it yet, so they complain about it. Do you realize what's wrong with your statement there? House prices are still too high. No, they're not. No, they're not. People have to begin thinking to themselves, that's just a fallacy. That is complete BS. Housing prices are not too high. Well, Barry, what are you talking about? They're so expensive, we can't afford it. All right, then what you just said was the people, the younger Americans, can't afford it. They don't have the money. So it's not the housing prices, it's the income. Why is their income not enough to afford a house that they can buy? Number two, the house that they can afford to buy, they don't want to live in. I've talked to many young people and go, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm working here. Okay, so you're looking at buying a house? Yeah, okay. Go look over there. You can't afford it over there. But I don't want to live over there. That's your problem. You got a champagne taste with a beer budget. Your beer budget says go over here and look at a duplex and rent half of it out so that you can increase your income and your debt to income ratio. I don't want to get too deep in that. That's some real estate stuff. But if you're driving through a real expensive neighborhood and go, oh man, these houses are great, I can't afford it. Well, you're driving in the wrong neighborhood. You need to go look a step down. Now again, housing prices are too high? No, they're not, because simple supply and demand. If there are people buying, then it's not too high. If people aren't buying, then those are stupid owners who don't understand supply and demand. Third thing, I guess, here's another free tip. Ignore list price. Never look at a house or even pay any attention to the list price. Oh, that's what they're asking. No, that's what the realtor is asking. See, a lot of people don't realize realtors find out Joe's going to sell his house, and then Joe comes back and tells the owner, hey, listen, we should sell it for this price. Really? Yeah. I think I can get to, this number. Oh, great. See what you can do. The owner didn't know that. The owner went on Zillow. The owner went on Redfin and said, oh, hey, we got an estimate here. We could buy it. We could sell our house for $300,000. Go ahead and do it then. These are all tricks. I never, ever, ever pay attention to list price. I don't care. You know why? Because here's the offer. Here's what I'm willing to pay. Take it or leave it. I don't care about list price. There are so many things I can show a new home buyer on how you can actually get into a house, and it's completely adverse to what people are saying on TV and everything else. First number, don't ignore list price. Make sure you're in the ballpark that you know what you can afford. And then, how do you know what you can afford? Go to a mortgage broker first before you go shopping. If you go to the mall and you want to buy some new clothes, you know what you have to spend. Well, I get $100. Let me see what kind of shoes I can get. Well, it ain't gonna be the greatest shoes, but you can probably buy some shoes for $100, right? Go to Payless. I don't know if they're still in business. Same thing with real estate. Go talk to a mortgage broker and say, listen, based on my income right now, how much can I qualify for? And the mortgage broker tell you, yeah, based upon your current income and credit or lack thereof, I can get you a mortgage for, I don't know, $100,000. Okay. Go shopping. You now have that in your wallet. Okay, I got $100,000 to go look around. Don't go to the $200,000 area and get your feelings hurt. Go shop where the guy told you can afford. All kinds of opportunities open up when you shop according to what you can buy. Yeah, that's another trick. Or you can increase the amount you want to buy by going through an FHA loan, where you only have to put down 3%. When people say housing prices are still too high, that tells me that they're trapped in a certain situation where they don't know how to navigate through everything they're seeing. There's a whole lot you can do instead of waving the white flag. Yeah, exactly. I thought everyone found out how much they could afford before buying a house. You'd be surprised. People start walking into a property. How much is? Oh, it's $650. I can't afford it. It's too high. Yeah, no shit. Don't go shopping in that part of the store. You're still at Kmart. Shop in the Kmart area. Now, see, that's where the other part comes in, which I'm going to get into, because then that neighborhood and everything else, we won't go there. Facts, Barry. Yeah, yeah, and I just try to let you guys know, champagne taste with beer. That champagne taste with beer money was something my dad always used to say to me. He goes, yeah, I hear what you want. You got champagne taste with beer money. Yeah, but you got some money. That's me. You don't have it, son. Oh man, I want a new thing. I want this. You can't afford it, but you can. You need to go shop over here. Shop, S-H-O-P, not buy. Go shop. Understand what you can afford, and then figure out how housing prices are too high. I can tell you right now. Even here in South Florida, certain places you can buy a condo for like $150,000. You may not want to live there. I can't do anything about that. See, that's another problem. So many people, I don't want to live there. What do you mean? Well, it's too far from the water, and I don't like the composition of the neighborhood. You hear how people, they're basically pricing themselves out of a home. See, the idea for buying a home is buy a home, you call them starter homes, and then in a couple of years you move. You don't get the home of your dreams when you first start unless daddy's writing you a check. A lot of people I know, I've sold a lot of houses to these people that I renovated, and they walked into a neighborhood that they weren't really thrilled with. I'm like, well, if you can afford it, watch what happens. Watch what the opportunities that exist and present themselves after you've paid that mortgage for 12 or 14 months. Now you've given some people some proof. Wow, he paid his mortgage for 12 months. And by then you may have gotten a raise at your job. And that's when you come home and say, honey, let's look for a new house. But see, kids aren't being taught that these days. And that's your problem. All right, so enough with the real estate stuff. That was for free. We'll do another one another time. I got a whole bunch more. We may be here. Yeah, we may be here for another hour and a half. So settle in. So I told you about what was going on in Texas. I have an interview I did this morning with a state house person in Texas. I'm going to play that right now. It's not the best of audio. He had a problem at his mic, but you can pretty much hear it. Just understand the gist of what he is saying comes through. And I want to play this interview first. It's a pretty short interview. He couldn't sit for too long because he had stuff to do, as you might imagine, down in Texas. But listen, I hope that you guys can hear this interview. Hey everybody, I've got a great interview for you today. We're talking to Brian Morrison, who's down there in the thick of things in Texas in House District 10. He's on a tight time frame, so we're going to jump right in. Brian, thank you for taking the time out of your day, which obviously must be going crazy down there.
It's been a wild couple of days, that's for sure.
All right, let me just jump right in. What is the current status of everything going on? I know you've been very vocal against, Attorney General Paxton doesn't seem to be doing enough, and Abbott's not doing enough. Where are we as of right now?
Well, I mean, where we are is to catch folks up. You know, a week ago, we had all the Democrats here. We were on the House floor. We had the Democrats. We had the maps. We had a quorum. And our rhino speaker, instead of maintaining quorum, released the Democrats to go meet with Hakeem Jeffries, flown down here from D.C., and they plotted their getaway. So this thing is absolutely a Democrat quorum break that was assisted by the Republican Uniparty leadership down here in Texas. So it never should have happened in the first place. If we had real Republican leadership, it wouldn't have happened. But where we are now for at least 3 days, my Democrat colleagues have denied us a quorum and have been hanging out in Illinois and New York and California and hanging out behind Governor Pritzker, who's probably, I mean, the irony of the situation is like he's probably got the most gerrymandered state in the country in Illinois. There's the Republicans have about 45% of the vote in Illinois, but they only give 15% of the congressional seats to Democrats. So Democrat states for a decade now have been gerrymandering the hell out of their states, and it's quite frankly the dirty little secret for the Democrats is that when they're acting all outraged and angry, saying we shouldn't be redistricting for partisan political advantage. They have no problem redistricting for partisan political advantage. They're just mad that the Republican state is doing it. So where we are, Democrats been gone for 3 days. As of today, a lot of tough talk, absolutely no punishment of any kind. No, we haven't even taken their parking spots away from them. So we've done literally nothing to these Democrats.
Do you think it's going to happen?
It better. I mean, look, if we had real bold Republican leadership down here, the type of leadership President Trump has in D.C., these Democrats wouldn't let us in the first place. And the Republicans had all the tools to keep them here. And then number two, if we had bold leadership, we'd have got them home by now. I mean, it's time to play hardball. Like, hit the Democrats where it hurts. My proposal is very simple on this. For every week they're gone, our current map would add 5 new Republican seats to Texas. That's what they're so angry about. For every week they're gone, we add another Republican seat. So you're gone 1 week, it goes from +5 to +6. You're gone 2 weeks, +5 to +7. So stay gone as long as you want. The map's going to get redder by the minute. Because that's the kind of stuff that Democrats care about. But nobody's playing hardball down here in Texas. But I'm trying to apply as much pressure as I can for real action. We've had arrest warrants. No arrests. We haven't cut their budgets. Haven't taken their staff. We haven't taken them off committees. These Democrats chair committees. People are shocked to learn that radical Democrats in the Republican Texas government are allowed to chair some of our most powerful committees, but not one of the chairmanships have been gone. And in fact, the worst small Gene Wu, the leader of the Texas House Democrats, was just put on the redistricting committee. I'm not making this up. And he hasn't been pulled off the redistricting committee yet. So this is all just a bunch of talk and no action.
It's inevitable, right? There's no way they can stop this train. They're just playing games for the public, for the media, and for people who don't even live in Texas. Tell me the process for continuing to, what would be the word? He can just call another session and the vote's going to happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, so eventually, there is a clock, and just because they want to live their lives, presumably they don't want to live out of state for the rest of their life. So presumably they will come home. And you're right. So just where folks are. So we are well over halfway through this special session. So we're in a special session. Where, by the way, redistricting is just one of 20 things we're supposed to be dealing with, property taxes and other things. But so they've been gone. We have, I think, less than 2 weeks left in this special session. So it's very easy to see the Democrats, especially if we don't make changes now. If the public pressure is not big enough for the leadership in Texas to actually do something meaningful to punish the Democrats, it's very easy to see them being on for the next 2 weeks. And then what I would assume would happen is the governor would immediately call the same day that this special session ends, he'd call another special session. And our special sessions could go up to 30 days at a time. And for context, 2 years ago, we had 5 sessions. So there is actually history for lots of sessions after sessions. And the Democrats know this, but sadly and embarrassingly, the Democratic Democrats are mocking the tough talk coming out of Republicans in Austin right now, and I'm sick of it. I want Democrats, they should be arrested, they should be punished, they should be forced back here. We need to fight fire with fire.
What's the difference, as I've heard Governor Abbott say, between a civil arrest and a criminal arrest?
Yeah, well, I think it's the enforcement mechanism, and I think that even if these arrests, quote unquote, were made, I don't think you're going to see, and maybe this is good, maybe it's bad, but I don't know if there's going to be the expectations that you'll see Democrats in handcuffs, and that type of thing. So I mean, because it's not a crime against the state. And so I think that's why it's a civil matter. It's not like the state of Texas versus, but the reality is it's the House and our Constitution that requires a certain action. And so it's just the difference between who the parties are, and that's what makes it civil versus criminal.
Now, I understand. All right, this is Barry from the President. Everybody, there's a notification over Brian's spot in the video. His mic was not working as well. I did a lot of stuff to try and improve it so you can hear it. You can actually hear what he is saying. You just have to stop chatting and listen. Just take your hands off the keyboard, turn it up a little bit, and listen to what he's saying. It's actually, you can hear it because I can hear it in my headset. So his mic wasn't doing as well as it should have been, and he only had a certain time frame. So I got the interview done. You can actually hear what he's having to say. Just try. Woosah. These things happen. And 2 people or so came back. I don't know if that's true, if you could verify it. And if those 2 came back, how many more do you need to get to quorum?
Well, so yes, we had 2 more Democrats than we did yesterday than we did the day before, but we had a net of only 1 new member that was there on net. So I think the numbers are going to change a little bit, but the real magic for folks to be tracking is 51. So that for folks who are not aware, and the reason you would know this, there are 150 members at the House of Representatives. Our Constitution requires 100 to be here. So the magic number for the Democrats is 50. Can they keep 50 Democrats out of the state? And on the trajectory we're on right now, it sure looks like it. But again, I'm doing everything I can to make the pressure as maximally high as possible for the Republican leadership in Texas to actually start taking bold actions and not just issuing, bold rhetoric.
Have you guys been digging into who's funding this and if that's legal?
There are a lot of people looking into that issue, and there are questions about whether these Democrats potentially violated the state bribery laws, if some kind of quid pro quo, if you got paid to take a certain government action. The reason, and look, that should absolutely be fully investigated, and if there's a reason to believe that these Democrats did engage in explicitly illegal behavior, they should face the full front of the law on that. The reason that's going to be slightly difficult is because it's kind of like the Wild West down here. We have very few actual ethics laws, unlike in federal offices, because some members are allowed to take money for just about any legal purpose down here. I mean, so you can be a consultant to anybody. So there's lots of ways. There's lots of workarounds. So that should be explored. But the reality is, we have lots of tools available to us that don't necessitate going through the courts with all the delays that we're taking. Why hasn't the governor preemptively pledged to veto any bill from any Democrat that's breaking court for as long as he's governor? That would get their attention real fast, because unlike other Republican states where Democrats get to pass hundreds of bills every year down here. So why has the governor not promised to veto? Why has the speaker not taken the Democrats off their committees? Why has he not pledged to kill any bill written by these Democrats as long as he's speaker? There's lots of remedies available right now that do not involve the courts, and not a single one of them has been used by any elected Republican in Texas.
These people that I'm hearing in the news and some of the insane stuff they're saying, they keep saying the people of Texas, the people of Texas. How much have you heard from the people of Texas?
I hear from a lot of people in Texas all over the state every day, and I can assure you there has been an outpouring. I mean, I can't even describe the outpouring support, because I'm kind of leading the charge here on raising awareness of options on the table for elected Republicans that we're not using. And let me tell you, the support that I'm getting from across the state is overwhelming. The people of Texas voted for bold Republican leadership. They deserve bold Republican leadership. They Texas reelected President Trump by 14 points. The people of Texas want us to do this. We should get it done. And we should stop letting the Democrats fight harder for the future than elected Republicans are. It's embarrassing.
You see, most people couldn't ask you this question, but I can ask you this question. Whether or not you could answer it, that's another thing. Are they crying and bitching and moaning because it's an inner city Austin issue, or is it a broader issue throughout the entire state? Like, is it pockets of liberalism that they're trying to save?
Oh, what's going on? I think it's important for folks to understand that this is not just a Texas issue. Like, it's important to remind everybody how big the stakes are here. We're talking about the future of the country, potentially. We're for sure talking about at least potentially the future of the United States Congress, because the margins in Congress are razor thin as we head into the midterm elections. So we're talking about potentially picking up 5 seats here in Texas. Well, right now, that's bigger than the margin that Republicans control Congress was. So we are literally, this fight we're in right now in Texas. You know, there's old saying, at least that all of us in Texas, as goes Texas, so goes the nation. It is literally true right here. If we fail in this effort, if we do not stop the Democrats, it is entirely possible, if we fail in Texas, that the United States Congress falls into the hands of the radical Marxist, socialist, leftist, progressive Democrats like Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, and AOC. And that's why it is doubly important that every elected Republican in Texas do everything they can to stop this. And unfortunately, that's not happening.
I have one last question for you that ties into what you just said. I saw a report today that basically the blue states have already done maximum gerrymandering where they are. They can't do it any further. But if the Republicans realize that they can do it in the states that they haven't, it would pretty much eliminate Democrat as a relevant party. Do you see that as well?
Oh, well, absolutely. The reality is the Democrats have been gerrymandering, blue state after blue state after blue state for 10 years. And so when they're threatening, oh, well, if Texas does this, we're going to respond by doing that. The reality is it's actually the red states that are responding to we're not really responding to the blue states, we're responding to the will of our voters. But if you look at it over time, the blue states have gerrymandered, and it's sort of like late in the game. Republican states are like, wait a second, we may have some issues with our maps that we need to address for our voters too. And so there was one Democratic governor came out today, which just tells you how dumb these people are. In addition to dishonest, I can't remember which blue state it was. I don't want to speak.
Massachusetts. It was Massachusetts.
I thought it was okay. Yeah, Massachusetts. She said, well, if Texas does this, we're going to redraw our maps. Well, there's only one problem. There's not a single Republican seat in Massachusetts. Is she literally calling for the Republicans to have negative congressional representation in Massachusetts? I mean, this is insanity.
When I saw that.
By the way, the mainstream media, I called this out on CNN, by the way. They were very angry at me for pointing this out. They not once ever dragged Governor Pritzker on to CNN. Man, did he defend, his state, which is the most gerrymandered in the country. Right. They tried to fact check me. They couldn't find a single video where they did it. So no, this is pure hypocrisy. It's fake outrage. They're making a big deal out of something that's absolutely nothing. The reality is they just don't like it when Republicans fight boldly on behalf of their voters. That's the reality.
I thank you for fighting for not just Texas, but the rest of the country. We're going to be following this thing very closely. So is this supposed to end in 2 days? It's going to end on Friday? Or, what do you see happening?
So I don't know. Our Rhino speaker, and literally just a total aside, I wish I had more time to dive into this. The Republican speaker of the Texas House was literally elected by the Democrat caucus. Okay, so that probably explains why he let them leave. So our speaker in the Texas House is elected by the Democrats. He, for whatever reason, chose not to demand that the House show up every day and give them until Friday. So he let them leave a week ago Wednesday, and then gave them almost a full week extension on the next time he's even going to punch the clock. So, it's outrageous. I don't know what he's doing. We won't know anything until Friday because he, again, isn't even bothering to the House show up. It's ridiculous. Texas Republicans could have stopped this if they wanted to, and Texas Republicans can end whenever they want. That's the big untold story that the national media is missing here.
Well, you know, if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't have a problem shutting you guys out. So keep fighting.
If the shoe was on the other foot, my wrist would be in handcuffs, buddy. Okay.
All right, keep on fighting. We'll keep an eye on it and see what goes on. Thank you for fighting.
You bet. Great to be with you.
All right, bye-bye. All right, so yes, as I said, and as I put on the video, his mic, there was something wrong with it. I don't know what it was. I tried to do all different things with the processing to make it sound better. That was the best I could get it. But in any event, you should understand like what he said. Basically, the rhinos in Texas were the ones who let the Republicans get trampled by these idiots. Now, this is where the important part comes out. The important part now, before I do the rumble jump over, is why is this all happening? The reason it's happening is the Democrats are fighting for their very lives. And unfortunately for them, there is no survival here. Yes, I'm actually saying that. There is no survival here. President Trump has activated the kill switch on the Democrat Party. And I'm going to spend about another 15 or 20 minutes telling you about this kill switch. So I want you to follow along here and follow along very, very closely. Because when you hear what I'm about to tell you, if you haven't seen it portrayed, if you haven't seen it laid out for you, you're going to sit back and go, OMG. Did he really, or somebody in his orbit, really come up with this entire scheme and how they were going to end the Democrat Party? Nobody saw this coming. It is absolutely phenomenal. All right, so before I get into that, let me show you a little bit of how they're starting to react. Brian mentioned the governor of Massachusetts, Maura Healey, I believe is her name. Maura Healey is the governor of Massachusetts. She also happens to be a LGBTQ ISSIPPI. And she said arguably one of the stupidest things ever on television. So I want you to hear this.
Other governors have talked about redistricting in retaliation. Is that something you would consider in Massachusetts?
You know, isn't it a sad state of affairs that that's where we're at, okay? And, you know, Donald Trump, Greg Abbott, Ken Paxton have left us no choice. That's the reality. Nobody came looking for this, right? We had a system of free and fair elections. We have maps that are regularly drawn, voted on by...
Okay, so I just want to stop there because that's what she really thinks. She's a lying heifer right here because she knows what they've done in the blue states.
The legislatures approved and signed off on by governors. This is the way the system works until this comes in. And so, you know, they've left us no choice. It's not where anyone wants to be. I can tell you that governors I know, maybe with the exception of this person in Texas, evidently, we want our constituents represented. We want the voices heard. Whether you vote for me or not, I want your voice to count. I want your vote to count. Unlike Greg Abbott, who doesn't want your voice to count and doesn't want your vote to count, nor does Donald Trump, nor does Ken Paxton, because they're proposing to completely rewrite a map out of nowhere to take away the votes and the voices of Texans. And the message is, not only does this have an impact on Congress, which impacts all of America, it also is something that you don't want to see spread. You don't want to see spread.
You see the props behind her going, and we don't want to see this spread. Oh, you're damn right you don't want to see this spread. Oh, you didn't expect this, did you?
But Abbott, Paxton, Trump, they leave states with no choice. I want to make sure that people have access to health care. I don't want to see further cuts to Medicaid or to housing or to veterans or to poor little kids who need to eat. Okay? So that is why it becomes an issue for a governor in New York and a governor in Illinois and a governor in Massachusetts, governors all around the country.
So, Governor, does that mean you're actually redistricting?
I'm sorry?
You're planning to perhaps
perhaps move forward on a redistricting plan in Massachusetts?
We just did that. We're going to follow the rules. I don't know if the Secretary of State wishes to comment, but...
Okay, so I don't know if you heard the question, and the reporter who asked her a question was basically looking to submarine her. And he's like, hey, so are you going to respond by redistricting yourself? And the answer to her question was, oh, we already did that. Oh, wait a minute, so you just did it in Massachusetts, but you're mad that Texas is doing it. I want you to remember that. We just did it. We already did that. We already took away all the stuff I was telling you we want for everybody else. But how's it okay for you to do it? Because I'm a Democrat. That's why.
We just went through a customary and orderly process just a few years ago.
We already did it. So I guess nobody in that audience, maybe that one reporter who she shut down. Excuse me, Miss Healy? Yeah, okay. So what percentage of the vote did President Trump and the Republicans get? Okay, that's an easy thing to think. How many Republican representatives are in the state of Massachusetts after you blew it out with your own redistricting that you just said? Oh, we already just did it. So how many Republicans are in the House of Representatives from Massachusetts? Would have been the question to ask. Well, the answer to that question is 0. 0. There is not one Republican from the state of Massachusetts in the House of Representatives. Not one. 0. They did their redistricting and completely destroyed the Republicans forever. You can never come back here ever again. We're going to give you this. This is over here by the railroad tracks. Oh, I'm sorry, there's only 5 people living there. That's all you get. There is 0 Republicans in the House of Representatives who represent Massachusetts. And she's screaming. But why would you be screaming? You already won. You already did it in Massachusetts, didn't you? Oh, okay.
The timing of this. Can you talk to me about this? Why do this in a census off year when you just redistricted in 2021?
Because we can.
I think she just pooped herself. I think she just blew it all over her. Why would you guys do this? Because we can. Perfect answer. Go pound sand, eat crap. The revolution is on. I told you we were in a civil war, and now tonight I am going to prove to you we are in a civil war without any equivocation. And he just fired a shot and said, we're doing it because we can. What do you got now, sweetie?
The votes. It's legal for us to do so. It's legal for us to draw the lines based on political performance. We have 3 Hispanic predominated districts in South Texas that we believe that we can carve out for Republican leadership in the United States Congress. It's going to be a good thing for Texas. I don't spend any time thinking about what happens in California, Illinois, or New York. I'm here to protect Texas and ensure that our voices are heard.
So, because you can. Why should you, though?
Understand, that was the best comeback she could. Oh, ask him why he should. That's all you could come back. I know you can, but why should you? So we can win, Moron. Why should you beat the hell out of your opponent? That's how you play the game. We're playing to win. Oh, I get it. You're not used to Republicans playing this game. You're used to having the Washington Generals. People just played along. And Donald Trump came in, and he was going to do some things in the first term. You screwed him. You screwed America. And now that game plan is actually being activated. And all of a sudden, I think in the last 24 hours, people realized, oh, poop. Checkmate. Checkmate. Why would you do this, man? You shouldn't have to.
Because it's good for our party, it's good for our state, and we need to ensure that Donald Trump's agenda continues to be enacted throughout his second term.
And we as Republicans see this as the difference between Democrats trying to impeach President Trump again during the second half of his final term as president of the United States, or accomplishing the agenda that all the voters in Texas by a significant majority sent him to accomplish.
So you're doing this for President Trump?
Oh, this is a national news station. She looks like she wants to cry, or she's sitting on soiled diapers, one of the two, and she can't believe what she's hearing. She can't believe, are they really going to do this? Oh, honey, it's coming. It's the end. I can hear Jim Morrison singing, "This is the end." Oh, it's over, baby.
We're doing this for Texas. President Trump doesn't call me. I don't think he has my phone number. But what I would submit to you is this is the best thing for Texas and its representation in the United States Congress.
All right, so let me explain this to you, what exactly is happening and why this is the end of the Democrat Party. They've gone to court over a number of years. They have tried to stop gerrymandering by the Republicans. Then the Republicans tried to stop it from Democrats. And then, of course, it went all the way up and it said, yes, you can do gerrymandering. And so the Republicans, prior to Trump, just sat back and took the loss. As Massachusetts, goose egg. As Illinois, just about goose egg. California, all the big states, New York, they made it, okay, now we're going to just stomp these guys out and, do whatever we can to make sure they don't have any opposition. And we're going to keep these margins very, very close until Donald Trump showed up. And Donald Trump started talking to these different states and said, y'all need to do the same thing. What do you mean? You need to go in and start redrawing these things and shut them out. What do you mean? Massachusetts, there are no Republicans, right? So right now we've got a 5, 6, 7 point lead, right? In terms of the voting, yeah. Well, what if we got ourselves to a 20, 25, or 30 person lead? Oh, we'd own them. Yeah. So here's how you do it. You, in Texas, go ahead and redistrict. Ooh, just picked up 5. Really? Wow. How about you over in, Nebraska? Why don't you do it? Now Nebraska is going to redraw its congressional districts before 2026. This would prevent Don Bacon's 2nd district from being flipped blue next year and make it easier for a Republican to win that electoral vote in 2028. Should this happen, it actually gives a Republican presidential candidate a pathway to the White House without Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, or Michigan. They need only the Sun Belt states. And Trump's going after these states one at a time. Go ahead and draw the lines. Shut them out. So let me show you what exactly I'm talking about, because when you see it, it actually is going to make you just go nuts. I want you to look at this map. And when you look at this map, what you're seeing, this is the congressional maps across the country and all the different districts. Okay, you can see that. Most of the districts are red. The blue is on the outside. And so what President Trump or whoever in his staff said, you know what? They all gerrymandered. They gerrymandered New York. They gerrymandered here. They gerrymandered there. Now, what happens if Texas decides to do some gerrymandering and removes all this blue? What if Florida removes all this blue? What if this state, I don't know what state it is, but all these states start eliminating the blue? What happens if we just gerrymander the F out of this map and choke the life out of the Democrats? Here's why that's important. The Democrats can't respond. Why? Because they've already gerrymandered the crap out of their areas. Look at Massachusetts up in here. There's nothing red. They've already shot the proverbial load. They have nothing left. And now they're all sitting back going, oh my gosh, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. And as people are starting to look at this, now it's starting to take shape. And here it is. The GOP's map advantage is huge. Dems are afraid. No, they're more than afraid. They're terrified. Picture Congress like a giant scoreboard where changing the field lines changes the game. Blue states have already pushed their maps as far as they can go. There's nothing left to tweak. You can't reload. This was like a perfect rope-a-dope, and they didn't even know they were boxing. They decided they were going to go all in years ago and screw Republicans, and the Republicans just went, that's just how it is. And now you got a guy going in and saying, go redraw your map. They've already done everything they can, and they're still this far behind. Once we start redrawing, it's over. And they can't even respond. That's why the Democrats are freaking out. Texas, red states, they've got plenty of space to redraw and win even bigger. Texas and Florida alone could get 10 more seats just by moving the line. Remember, there's a 4, 5, 6 vote margin right now. They can't increase their margins. They're done. The Republicans are sitting back going, oh, we could do this in Texas. We could do it in Florida. That's 10 more just in 2 states. Now you're looking at a 16 to 18 point margin. Throw in Ohio, Indiana, Missouri, and others, and Republicans could add over 15 seats. Democrats are stuck with only California and New York to work with. I got to check the chat, because right about now, light bulbs got to be going off going, oh, now you know why they're fighting. And understand, they're not fighting. There's no fight here. It's just complaining. It's already been written. You can't stop what's coming. We've been saying it for years. You cannot stop what's coming, and now it's staring them right in the face. They're standing in front of a locomotive, and there's nothing you can do. You can't sue. There's nothing. You can't do anything. You are currently at the mercy of Donald Trump. That's probably why he's like, okay, you guys want to play ball, hardball? You want to try to bribe me and tell me I got to give you billions? Okay, that was the last straw. Bam. Texas redistricts. I don't know who came up with it, Trish. I don't know whose idea it was, but it's absolutely flippin' brilliant. There's nothing you can do. That's the best part about it. All they can do is watch what's about to happen. It makes them dangerous. It makes them violent, but they can't stop what's coming. They don't have no place to redistrict. You already took it all. Maura Healey said it at the press conference. Yeah, we did ours last year. Yeah, and there's 0 Republicans up there. How many can they pick up in Cali? None. They've already done it. It's already preordained. They spent their, here, let me show you again, okay? Let me go ahead and show you this map. I'm sorry it's so small, but it did fit. But when you look up here, you can see there's Massachusetts completely maxed out. There's Connecticut, and if you start looking at New York, it's very hardly anything. California, you got a few, but you can't do it again. There's no place to really draw it. So when Newsom says, I'm going to redraw, I'm like, how? You got nothing left. You've already taken all the big cities. That's why they're fighting, and they can't stop it. Yeah, they have 9 Republican seats in California. If you redistrict and took away those 9, you're still not going to make it. They're going to stack up 15 or 20. There's nothing. I want you to leave here tonight and go realize there's nothing they can do. Nothing. And that's why they're freaking out, because they're about to lose their shirt. Let's see here. Can't believe the Republicans have let this slide until now. That's something to wonder. Why did you let it happen? Why did you sit back and just decide that you're gonna be the Washington Generals? The Washington Generals, who I refer to, just so you guys know, the Washington Generals is the team that the Harlem Globetrotters used to play and make look stupid. They were just there to just be on the court while they're going and just making you look like the stupid white guys that you are. And now you got somebody who's not going to be part of your game plan, which is another reason why I think he's about to federalize Washington, D.C. It's not about cleaning it up. It's not about making sure there's no homeless people there. It's because once they do that, well, you're going to see how the laws are different, because now everything there is federal, not District of Columbia. Whoever came up with this plan and said, here's how we do it, here's how we render these people completely irrelevant, and they won't be able to do anything. Nothing. Exactly. Nessun dorma. And you if you start listening to it out there and start seeing some of this stuff, you'll realize. That's why I asked Brian, is this a foregone conclusion? Is it a fait accompli? Is it done? Is there nothing they can do? Nope. Nothing. You can delay the inevitable. You can't stop the inevitable. They already have the power. It's just a matter of getting your butts back here, whatever they need to do, and you're done. So it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when. It's going to happen. And so I know some of you guys are sitting back and going, number one, why the hell didn't we do this before? Yes. And number two, is it just can't sue? You can't do anything. You're done. That's why they're freaking out. That's why Massachusetts and Illinois and California are all freaking out, because they realize now they're trying to make it a national issue, even though it's just about Texas. This has nothing to do with Massachusetts. They're turning it into a national issue because they have to. They're trying, and they're hoping that people just run out into the streets. Here, let me show you this one. The real reason the Democrats are afraid of gerrymandering, this breakdown ends the Democrat Party. So before we go there, let me go ahead and play this video, because this guy really explained this really well. Okay, listen to this. It's only like 60 seconds long, but I'll come back to this tweet.
This is why Democrats are so scared of gerrymandering. Because every blue state is already gerrymandered to the maximum possible extent. None of these states have a Republican congressperson. These states have one Republican congressperson, and these states have 2 to 5. Which means the only states that they could gerrymander more to get rid of Republicans would be California and New York. Those are their only options. Whereas Republican states are not as gerrymandered, so they have tons of options and tons of places where they could do so right now. And if every Republican state starts gerrymandering, it adds up very quickly. Like Texas and Florida alone could add 10 plus seats, but when you factor in Ohio, Indiana, Missouri, and other smaller red states, Republicans could gain over 15 seats in the House. And Donald Trump is going to pursue this strategy, which is why J.D. Vance is in Indiana right now. Because Indiana could gerrymander to gain 2 plus seats.
This is too much when you look at it. Okay, this is why Democrats are so scared, because every blue state is already gerrymandered to the maximum possible extent. None of these states has a Republican congressperson. Imagine that. Okay, as you're looking at this list, you know full well there are people, lots of people in these states who are Republicans, who are MAGA. And none of them have any representation. Maura Healey just talked, your vote has to count, unless you're in Massachusetts. Your vote has to count, unless you're in Rhode Island. They've already done it. The thing that they're complaining about, they've done, and they've shut out an entire population. Good luck being a Republican or MAGA in Connecticut. You get 0. You get nothing, sir. So how in the hell can you guys go out in public and say, oh, they're trying to take people's votes away? They're trying, because the idiots don't know this. The people on television aren't going to tell you, oh, Trump, look what Trump's doing. You mean exactly what all these states have already done? And they've gerrymandered to the hilt. And these 3 states only have one Republican congressperson. And it goes on, whereas Republican states are not so gerrymandered, like he said. And if every Republican state starts gerrymandering, it adds up. They're done. They're done. That's why they're freaking out. Nobody's really talking about it, and now you're finding out that's what their problem is. it's incredible when you think about how this plan came together and how it's being executed right now. Yeah, they're way too soft on the Democrats. Not now they aren't. Not now they aren't. MAGA has found a loophole. It's called redistricting. It's fair. They've used it. Yep. So now you know why I was so confident. I'm like, and now you know what about Mike DeWine? We talked to Representative Rulli from yesterday, and the new governor from Ohio is about to be Vivek Ramaswamy. They are effed. Now, they're not just done. They are completely effed. And so this is where it gets scary. Make sure you're taken care of, because now things could get really squirrely. It's only a matter of time before they have to tell everybody, we're done. We will not be able to stop President Trump. We've waited and this is in addition to the law stuff that's happening. Man, I've been talking, or not talking, but we've been going on for 3 hours. I'm going to do the jump over here because it's only 6:53, and most of what I'm going to be doing is listening along with you because there's so much more to go. So what I want you guys to do is getting ready to do the Rumble jump over. I think you're going to want to hear this stuff from Tulsi Gabbard. Where's my little banner? I used to have my little banner all set, and now I can't find it. Where's the banner? Where's the banner? Oh, here we go. All right, so that's where you're going to want to go to after we do Super Chats and then after we do the music. This is a long show. So we probably got about, I don't know, 2 more hours on the other side. That's a whole lot. I hope you guys are hanging out because we'll be here. It's early. It's only 7, so you won't be here that late. You'll be here earlier than we got out with the movie. But I hope you guys understand everything right now, where things are going. If you have any question, never go to war. If you have any questions, just go ahead and send them to me and stuff, and we'll talk about it. Yeah, because this is definitely, finally, definitely.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning, and you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
All right, so I'm going to go do the Super Chats here. I mean, let me know if you guys want, because, I mean, do you want me to do like a short... Yeah, I need to have those comments. You guys need to let me know. When we jump over... It could conceivably be 2 hours. Some of you guys have been sitting here for a while. You guys want me to do the full 2 hours, or just wrap it up here and take it up tomorrow? I'll do what you guys want me to do. I'm looking in here to see. You guys tell me. Should I jump over and show you the Tulsi stuff, or do you want to wait till tomorrow? And it takes a second for them to come in. And I'm waiting. Full, keep going. More. All right, so it looks like you guys are want me to keep going. Okay, I shall keep going. 2 hours. Don't you people have husbands or wives and dogs? All right, so let me do the Super Chats, and then we'll jump over. Y'all don't get enough, huh? Yeah, we got a whole bunch for you tonight. Whole bunch for you. All right, where's my window here to do the Super Chats, and then y'all can go over and jump into Rumble. Hold on, let me put this window so everybody can see. All right, let's do this. Starfleet, thank you. Starfleet, ESPN will take over NFL Network and NFL Red Zone. ABC Disney is getting bigger. I'm waiting to see who's going to buy them. That should be interesting. I didn't see this. Ben Dykes called you a legend on his show today. I'm not a legend. I just love what I do, but thank you. Larry, my daughter is in Portland. She says since the BBB, her minimum student loan payments tripled. Grocery prices doubled too. Thoughts as to why? I think you put that in your opening part of your question. My daughter is in Portland. They're going to do everything they possibly can to cause pain to people, because they need to cause pain to people to make sure that they continue being anti-Trump. If all of a sudden everything went down, they'd be like, oh God, this is actually pretty good. No, they need these people to continue to feel pain. So you're on it. My daughter is, okay, I just read that one. Ken Roccioli, he is donating his salary because he's a great person trying to do good things for all Americans. This is why he is not aging. Other presidents age badly. Trump, no schemes, no backdoor deals or corruption. Just excited to do a great job. Yeah, in terms of walking around on the roof. Just no knucklehead, no shave. When I was in, we called it Navy law, black guy don't shave. You're talking about the shooter on the base. Cutting edge, check out California's new bill. AB 495 is literally about passing another diabolical law. People got to leave. MAGA Mom, God bless our military. God bless America and our troops. Thank you. Chapo, deep state media and pollsters trying to fudge the numbers to scare away all the commitments Trump got because they just want U.S. to fail. Remember that. That's exactly it. Team Media. Caitlin Collins is one of those women who make it very challenging to be a good, forgiving Christian. She is bad. Mr. Gasworks, thank you very, very much. That's awesome. American companies are coming back to America. Just sound funny to me. Great job. Yeah, American companies coming back to America. Like always, Barry and crew, appreciate all you do and the true support for our fellow Americans and our GOAT President Trump. Thank you very much. Gen V, the blue states like mine only have themselves to blame since they are chasing businesses away. They don't want business. Now hear this, Donald Trump, the most productive president ever. Captain Danny, thank you. Profile pic is old. I quit smoking years ago. Good for you. Gen V, who made Caitlin Collins the chief economist? Because she's probably about to follow, what's his name, Don Lemon out the door real soon. Native South Florida, Trump looks tired. He's been working so hard. Yes, he has. Yes, he has indeed. Native South Florida, is that the same person? Yeah. Washington is not in a state. It's a federal district formerly known as District of Columbia, which is not part of any U.S. state, which if he takes over, makes it even easier. Gen V, people don't get correct or any info about DT's achievements thanks to the media. Then there's TDS and bad actors who entered here and those outside the U.S. Correct. I don't know how possible this guy could lose. Annie, thank you, Barry, and all the mods. God bless our president. How do I send you an email with a movie suggestion? One of the mods can go ahead and send that to showmail@fanfareshop.org. Brian Newland, which reminds me, Brian Newland, I had a great day today. My buddy got me out to the golf course. I can only chip and putt, but I had a blast. That's it. That's all. Do what you can. Buddy Sanders, housing prices in Tennessee went up because of blue state migration, supply and demand. I just hope they don't bring their ideology. James Kipp, then you're in Riviera Beach or Opelika. So he's talking about the pricing in terms of being able to live where you can afford. Well, you know, there's some places out in Loxahatchee that aren't like Riviera Beach. Riviera Beach West is kind of bad. Angela Williman, in Northeast Alabama, red state groceries, restaurants, and auto parts have gone up, blaming tariffs. They're price gouging. Sounds like the gas is down. Brian Newland, I have POTS, and eventually I will have MS. Oh, I'm sorry. So everyone knows my situation. Getting out on the golf course is my happy place. Good for you. Rick, by the way, Brian, I'm working on a sponsorship with a fishing excursion company, and what we're thinking about doing is, if I can make it work, we're gonna get fishing boats out there and invite people to come on down and go fishing with Robin. I can't go because I'll throw up all over you, but we may be doing some fishing trips in the very near future. And you'd love to see it come down. Rick Williams, their energy is the nexus of all costs, from the raw materials to delivery of the finished product, especially food. Agreed. Just a girl, thanks, Barry. Love listening to you. We're on the same page. Thank you. Madeline Mack, how can we make our MAGA voices better heard and in stage other than ours? Please advise states other. X, Facebook. You might alienate some people, but you'll get the word out. Somebody will listen. Madeline Mack again. Us MAGA Republicans must get these commies out of the seats in all the states somehow and make our voices heard. I agree. Rick Williams again. Not one single man who is married to a white liberal woman has any freedom. His balls are carried in his wife's purse. Oh my God, that's too funny. Let me go back up. I missed a couple things. All right. James Kipp. Republican never played to win like Dems do. Fire with fire. Now they are. T-Mac, thank you. Beverly Litton, Dems will bring out the voter fraud once again. Texas is blue. Well, I guess you didn't see that they also, one of the things that they were able to do is that they can do, some of the states are now getting okay to do voter ID. So it's coming. G. Fisher, 2 more hours of the news that matters. Okay. Roaring Rage, please tell Anthony happy birthday. Who? All right, happy birthday, Anthony. I wish you put his last name. Happy birthday, Anthony. Timothy Norfolk. See you on the other side, Barry, for more winning. All right, Tanya P. No reps south in New Mexico, but so much MAGA. All right, let me go. One more. Can California redistrict? I thought I heard you say they couldn't, but someone said they can. No, he can. Gavin Newsom can indeed redistrict. He just can't get enough seats in his redistricting to stop what's coming. He already did it. So there's very few left that he can do. So have at it. Do what you need to do, Gavin. And we'll see what happens. All right. So we are going to jump over. At this point in time, what ends up happening is I play the break music, which is about 90 seconds. And then we'll see you on the other side. So thank you. We've been here for 3 hours. Here we go. Okay.